What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com. Welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show. I got my guy, Kendall McKee from Wild Cards Box Breaks and JustBaseball.com. And we are ready to rock, man. It is summer. It's hot. We got a lot of sports cards to talk about. I've been at some Braves games. And Kendall, I know you've been at some games. And we got the National coming up. There's just a lot going on, man. What's up?
Man, my last couple of weeks have been pretty insane. I survived COVID. That was fun. Fully healthy now, able to go out in public. So that's fun. Just kind of ironed out my national details. Still ironing out just a couple of things, but I'm going to be there. Have a spot to sleep, which is super important. And I'm ready to roll, man. I've had some good card sales over the past couple of weeks, getting in preparation for that. And I have a strategy that I just love your thoughts on. So I'm sure we'll talk about that today.
Can't wait to talk about it, man. We've got a lot to get through today, and we've got a new show structure, if you will. We're going to try to give this a shot, see how it goes. I have no doubt it's going to be phenomenal. So we're going to jump into it in a second. But again, I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. You're listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 39. We are back. We took a break for the 4th of July. Kendall had to recover. I'm glad he's feeling healthy.
You didn't take a break.
I didn't take a break. I came on a live stream for 45 minutes when I was at my parents' house, much to my dad's chagrin, but that's okay. I needed to talk some sports cards. I was excited, so I needed to keep it moving. And I wanted to test a little bit. I wanted to see how many people would tune in on a holiday. It was the 4th of July. We had a good amount of people checking in. And we've had a lot of action in the Sports Card Investment Report. More subscribers, more people joining the Facebook group. So we appreciate that. All of you watching and listening right now, thanks again. Don't forget to participate. Go to Facebook and join the Facebook group at Sports Card Strategy. And check out the Sports Card Investment Report at NoOffSeason.com. You can save 20% by using the promo code NoOffSeason. And we're going to talk more about that in the show. So, all right, Kendall, let's get into our new show structure and see what the audience thinks about this. The first thing we're going to talk about is L of the week. So what was my worst move of the week? I'm going to go first, and then I'm going to let you do yours. And, trying to be creative with the segments, trying not to copy what everyone else is doing. Like to start off with a little bit of, an L, because we all take L's, and we don't always talk about our L's. So I think you and I giving everybody a dose of reality at the beginning of every show could be a good idea. Just kind of remind everybody that there's usually a lot more L's than there are W's, just in life in general, but you got to keep swinging. You got to, you're only as good as your last at bat, and you got to focus on your next at bat. So here's what happened to me. Here's my L of the week. So I think you'll like this one. And I'm curious to see what the audience thinks. So I got back from my run the other day, and I was super excited to check my email and see an offer from MySlabs. I got an offer from MySlabs, $650 on a Darius Garland 2019 Goodwin Champions Auto SGC 1010. I had bought this card for $500 back in probably February when I started to get really outspoken about my love for Darius Garland. And the offer was for $650. So I thought, okay, this is good. This is a good profit margin. It's kind of what we all hope for when we buy a slabbed card and just player prospecting. So I accepted the offer. I was like, God, this is great. As soon as this guy pays, I'm going to ship it to him from my PWCC vault, and just made $150. Especially because the MySlab fees are less than the eBay fees. I mean, this could not have been going any better for me. Ready to talk about it on the show, all that good stuff. Put it in the spreadsheet. So I go to my PWCC vault. I go to ship it to this guy, and I don't see the card in my vault. I'm like, crap. Probably already sold the card.
Oh, no.
So double and triple checked, went back into my past eBay sales, went back into my PWCC vault requests. Sure enough, there it was. Already sold the card on eBay, already shipped it to somebody else, and just forgot to take it down from my slabs. Just a rookie mistake. I always talk about the strategy of listing in both places, and this is the downfall when I do a lot of stuff manually in my life. I don't know. I just am a big fan of doing a lot of things manually. I automate some things, but I do a lot manually.
Can you automate that?
And I don't think you can automate this.
I don't know how you would do that.
I'm sure like somebody can figure it out that's a bigger geek than I am, but I don't, smarter than I am, but I don't know how to do it. Anyway, I took a big L on this one. It's my L of the week because not only did I sell the Darius Garland card on eBay for just over what I paid for it about a month and a half earlier, was not patient enough, but I also had to go through essentially the hassle of, it ended up not being that big of a deal, but I did have to because My Slabs uses PayPal, you can easily refund something through PayPal, and My Slabs has it set up and it works fine. But if you're like me and you empty your PayPal account out all the time and you don't keep a balance in there, you have to transfer a balance in there so that you can then perform the refund. And so I essentially had to email the buyer. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I don't have this card anymore. Please forgive me. I'm going to refund your payment. But before I refund your payment, I have to transfer $50 over from my bank account into my PayPal account so that I have the freaking balance to, it was just a mess, right? So it ended up working out. The guy was super nice and he wasn't mad about it, but just kind of felt like a tool. So that was my
not that you were. No, dang, that stinks. I hate it when that happens.
Drop a comment, guys. Jump in the live chat if you've had anything like this happen to you, or if you want to share. If the audience wants to share your L of the week, we'll take audience Q&A at the end of the show, and we may or may not chime in during the feed here. We like chiming in during the feed. So, Kendall, what's your L of the week, man?
Well, before I get to my official L of the week, I don't think it's as bad as yours. I'll say that. But I sell on Loop, right? And when we were originally jumped on the platform, we were like, okay, let's do some, when you're first getting into a new platform, you're trying out some things. And then eventually you're like, hey, that's not working out exactly like we wanted to, blah, 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 especially when you look at profit margins on certain things. And so originally what T and I were doing were we were opening a hobby Bowman and then selling the packs individually or a jumbo. So you could buy a jumbo pack individually. There's 12 packs in a jumbo box. There's 3 autos in there. So we were selling, instead of buying the $600 pack, you could buy a small, maybe a pack or 2 and potentially have the chance to get an auto, something like that. We were kind of doing something like that. So we had realized that we were actually not making very good margins when we were doing that on the product because of the shipping for each individual pack and stuff like that, because most people weren't buying more than one, or most people weren't buying. Most people weren't buying more than one. They were buying one. And then if they didn't get the auto, they were like, okay, whatever. So we were like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. So what I did was this guy was like, hey, I'll just buy the rest of the jumbo box. There's 4 or 5 packs left. I think there was an auto or 2 that had already been pulled. So he had the opportunity to get the rest of the box with a potential. So it's almost like buying just a regular hobby box at that point. So I sold it to him, but I packaged it up and I thought I did all my numbers correctly. So when I sold it to him, got it out of there. But then have you ever used Loop?
No, I have not.
Okay, so you can go into the sale, into the products available tab, and you can buy stuff from the shop or whatever. And so when you are in the Loop, so I thought I minused. So when I created a new thing to sell the guy at a bundle price, I thought I deleted all the other packs. So I didn't do that. So I sold him the bundle. And then later on, somebody else bought 1 pack of a jumbo. So I had to bust open another jumbo to sell one pack to somebody. And so, I mean, it didn't like really hurt us because we ended up selling that next jumbo, but we had already made the move mentally like, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. And then I ended up actually having to open another one. So it was just another jumbo that we didn't make that quite as good of margins on as we could have. And so we took a little bit of a loss there. Not like we took a loss financially, like in terms of the product. We just didn't sell it in the margin we wanted to shoot for. So that's similar to your story. But my loss of this week has been another loss. So I ended up going in over the past couple of, I guess it started maybe around January of last year. Do you know who the Alex Party collection is for Top 70? So their Project 70 Alex Party collection, that first Braves Ronald Acuna like monster card, loved it. Actually, here it is.
I can picture it in my head right now. I know what you're talking about. It was last year, right?
This one right here.
Yeah.
So when that card came out, I guess I'll take it out of the plastic. There we go. So when this card came out, I was like in love with it. I was like, dude, I've got to have that card. So I ended up buying 2 of them, and I was like, I'm going to keep one and I'm going to sell one, because I think that's an iconic card that's eventually going to go up someday. Well, it is an iconic card, and people love it. So then I ended up buying the Mike Trout one, and because I love that one, which was the second one he released. And then I realized Alex Party was going to release like 20 of them or so. So I said, okay, this is my first set that I'm going to complete. So I said, okay, I'm going to complete a set and then sell that for double what I have in it. And then I'm basically going to have a set for free. That's what I was going to do. That was my plan. So I ended up buying 2 of every one of Alex Party's cards. So I bought 2 complete sets by the time the end of it happened, which the last card ended up releasing earlier this year. I think it was a Mickey Mantle. It looks super cool. Love the cards. Not disappointed in that per se. But what I am disappointed in, and I guess is my L, is the cards didn't go up like I thought, because I thought this was going to be a set that everybody would want. And I think it is a set that a lot of people desire, but with the state of the marketplace right now, everything is down from where I originally bought it from. So if you look at my dollar cost average, I've actually bought at a higher like point and like kind of bought on the way down. So when I went to go like sell it as a collection, I actually made this.
I saw your tweet about this. This was a pretty good looking, I'm not going to spoil it for the viewers here, but check out Lefty McKee on Twitter if you're listening on Spotify and Apple right now, because you'll see a picture of what Kendall tweeted, and it looks pretty sick.
Yeah, so I ended up making this, which was sick. I was like, man, I was super happy with it. And my thought process was I was going to make that one and then sell that for the price of the whole collection, and then I was going to do another one of those frames and then have it in my office. Well, so I have about 600-ish in the frame itself, like not the frame, but like the whole thing, like that whole thing. I have about $600 in it. I was only able to get 500 on eBay for it, so I ended up having to take a pretty good loss. But the reason why I'm selling it now is I want to prepare myself for national, and I would rather have $500 to reinvest somewhere else and take $100 loss rather than have a cool piece of art and have a $600 loss on my hands. So I still have all this other set that's still, out here. So if anybody wants a whole set of these cards, I am selling the other set now too, just because of like where I'm at with them. I'm not able to keep the other one. I'm going to have to sell that one too. So if somebody is interested, reach out to me at Lefty McKee on Twitter. But I ended up selling this framed one that I'm shipping out today on eBay for a little bit of a loss. So that's my L of the week. Yeah,
well, you did a lot of work into that. Hopefully you had some fun. I think, even though you take a loss, at least I feel like that's part of the game. So
yeah, sometimes you do.
Share your stories with us. Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your L of the week, and we can probably make you feel better about it, or we'll try to make you feel better about it. That's what the L of the week's all about, sharing our losses. And then, of course, we're going to get into our wins. Before I share my win, though, I want to talk about the fact that I'm grateful that Kendall and his family are healthy again from COVID. They're back. Yeah. So that's a win.
We're back to kicking butt.
I've been driving around the United States of America ever since I flew back from Spain, and my most recent road trip was with my 12-year-old son Max. He and I went to 2 Atlanta Braves games this past weekend, and we saw a lot of dingers, man. A lot of people going yard, a lot of talent on that team, and they basically played Juan Soto. Not much of a supporting cast around Juan Soto, but Juan Soto hit a couple of dingers, and Max got 4 toss-ups. One of them was from Travis Denard in the bullpen, warming up the starting pitcher in Saturday's game. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, just wanted to share some of my escapades from the United States. That's why I'm in a little bit of different scenery here for those of you watching. And if you're listening and I don't sound the same, it's because I don't have my mic in the US. I will be back to my normal recording studio in August. But for now,
I actually think you sound exactly the same.
That's good. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I hope.
Maybe that's not good. Maybe it's not good from your mic standard, but it sounds fine.
Let me know if you think I sound better, worse, or the same, and if the same is good or bad in your opinion. All right, so let's get into the W of the week. So I wanted to preface my W with a little baseball talk, because my W of the week is thanks to my guy, my co-host, Kendall Lefty McKee, the catalytic man that you all know. He's been dropping baseball knowledge ever since he came on the show as my co-host. I mean, he knows a lot about every sport and all kinds of sports cards and crypto and all sorts of other stuff. But, you know, Kendall, I would say baseball is probably his number one, followed closely by soccer. And so he's been dropping ridiculous baseball knowledge. Go back and check out like the Bowman for Dummies episode on the Sports Card Strategy channel and feed. It was sick. We get a lot of good feedback and comments on that. But anyway, Kendall said in as far ago as February, March, and as early as April, this is your last chance to get O'Neal Cruz at this price point. And he said it, and I love when people in general make ballsy calls like that, and I love when Kendall does it, because he does it with a lot of conviction and energy, and you know you need to listen to him. So what did I do? On the show, I bought an O'Neal Cruz first prospect Bowman Chrome auto. Not serial numbered, not refractor, just the base chrome auto, PSA 10 for $640 in a buy it now or best offer situation. The price went down as low as about $410 after he did not get the initial call up, and he was in AAA Indianapolis for a couple months. And then we had Chase Krim on the show the week of the call up, and I asked Kendall and Chase, what do you think I should do with this O'Neal Cruz card? And they both gave good answers. Based on their answers, I listed the card in a 10-day auction, and I got $840 for that card, which was like probably the top sale of that particular card. I used Kendall's tip, which was to go and find a sold listing of the same card and then click sell one like this, and then just upload your own photos to it. Now, of course, pick one that's sold high for an amount.
Right. Don't pick one that didn't sell well. Yeah.
Don't pick one that sold for a crappy amount. So that's what I did. I had to preface that. And I got $840 for it. Now, after clearing eBay fees, I profited a little over $100, which, you know, you got to take it. That's kind of what you're trying to do for a flip. When you buy an already graded card of a well-known guy, I don't know that you can expect to do much more than whatever percentage that is, right? So profiting $100 on a $640 purchase, I'm not going to do the math right now, but I think that that's basically what, you know, would keep me happy about the quick flip game. So that's my dub of the week. What do you think, Kendall?
Yeah, I think it worked out well for you, because a lot of people sold when he went down to AAA, thinking that he wouldn't stay, or that he wouldn't like come back up with the same veracity. And man, I don't know if you have been keeping up with him since, but like he literally hit a home run last night that looked like it should have been a pop fly to the infield. Like he's just doing stuff that's stupid. Like, so he hit a home run last night. I don't know if you saw it, but he like just threw the bat head at it, and it went like 440 feet. Like literally, it was like if I did the same thing, it might have gone to the pitcher. Like that's how like stupid the swing looked. And then it like quickly, like he just starts, jogging around the bases, like doing his O'Neal Cruz thing. And they go over to the Pirates dugout, and one of his teammates is like literally with his hands up like this, and he goes, "Oh my God, how does he do that?" A professional player also on the Pirates looks at O'Neal Cruz and says, "This guy does things differently. That like his body is able to do things that is just not like other humans." And I think we're going to continue to see that. His numbers haven't been exactly where I want them to be, but he's still in the front running in terms of betting odds for the NL Rookie of the Year. And one of those, part of that is because nobody's really surfaced in the NL in terms of Rookie of the Year, but O'Neal Cruz is just an animal. And I'm so excited to see where he goes. And a very interesting conversation, I don't know if we want to get into today, is he has a very similar like skinny frame that you would see like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, those kind of guys coming up with in the 90s, like wiry frame, like fast twitch, like excellent hitter. All those guys ended up taking steroids and their bodies turned into like animals. And I know, like, I'm like, man, what would O'Neal Cruz be if he was on roids?
You want to feed O'Neal Cruz some peds?
I do. I mean, kind of, like, I know it's like ethically it's not great, I get that whole argument. And I'm not for PEDs. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, in a bubble, what would O'Neal Cruz look like with some steroids?
I mean, drop a comment below if you think O'Neal Cruz would be better on PEDs.
Like, would he be the Predator? Like, that's the only thing I can think of.
Drop a comment below or participate in the live chat if you think Kendall should try to slip O'Neal Cruz's dietitian some peds into the nutrition routine. What up, Eric Stefano? What up, Ziggy, aka Sports Card Show? He's got the SEO algorithm working with the Sports Card Show title there. Good work, Ziggy. One love, my man. Stefano, says that card is sick. I think you're right. I think that basically
RPO, what's going on, man? I love this guy. He's like one of my favorite guys on Twitter.
I love RPO too. Great participant in the show. We love seeing you on. And he's
RPO follows like everything I do. I love it. Like, this guy is just everywhere I post anything. RPO's like, "What's up, bro?" I'm like, dude, how are you always everywhere? I love it. I'm a big fan of RPO. Giga Maggies.
Yep. We got your back, RPO, and anyone else out there who comments everywhere, we've got your back too, and I think you know that. So, RPO and Ziggy both want us to try to feed O'Neal Cruz some peds.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it would be serious.
We're starting a trend here. Let's see if we can make this happen. I don't know. I mean, I love
part
the
of me is like, hey, if anybody can, if everyone's allowed to do it, I mean,
they should be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, another topic for another day.
That is another topic. Yeah.
I think they should be able to do it. I personally do. We'll talk about that later, but drop any comments, but drop some stuff in the chat and we'll get back to you. So,
but I love your W. I love the win.
And, I appreciate that. And I think, it goes with what I'm trying to stay consistent with. I'm trying to stay liquid. I'm trying to flip. I love being in the game. And it's not that to each his own. Some people like to collect and hold and collect the rainbow or collect the, different sets and stuff. And so it's not that I don't like that. It's just that right now in my life, I'm having the most fun flipping, and it keeps me buying. It keeps me in the game. Like, I'm taking a little bit of money out of cards each time, but I'm putting most of the money back into cards. And so I'm also putting the money back into nooffseason.com to try to hire people and make that better and bring on more content and stuff like that. So
what did you end up purchasing it for? What was your price?
It was $640, and then I sold it for $840.
All right, hold on just a second.
So, anyway, we'll take a couple questions while Kendall's looking this up, and then we'll get to his W of the week. So, Sports Card Show, which is Ziggy, said if you had an athletics friend that could make the draft in any sport and you could help him, what would you do it in?
Interesting.
That's a good question.
If you had an athletic friend that you could make the draft in any sport and you could help him and know.
And I think he's saying, and you know that he would make it. Like,
would I give him PEDs? Is that in response to that?
How
are you interpreting that question?
Probably. I don't think I would. I don't think I would get. I mean, I think I would say, like, look, man, here are your options for your body optimization. You should talk to a bunch of people and you should make your own decision. I don't think I would encourage him to take PEDs. But what sport? I guess I interpreted it as what sport would be like the most fun to help him make the draft in. I'll let you go first.
I would push people towards basketball if they had the ability, because look at the Mondo contracts that are coming through on these. I mean, role players are making $50 million. Yeah. Like, what is the deal? Nobody makes that kind of money.
Yeah, basketball is my answer too. Same thing. And because it's more exclusive, it's a more exclusive club. You've just got less.
Yeah. I read a stat one time that was like, there's more active professional baseball players in all levels. Like, if you're considering anybody with like licensed material, like outside of independent ball, I think there's more active MLB players that are professionally today than there's ever been in the NBA. Like, if you count all the NBA players that have ever suited up at least one game, there is more active MLB players right now than there has been in NBA history.
Wow, I like that stat. That's a great stat right
now.
There.
I don't know, like, that was a couple of years ago, so maybe it's not true now, but still, like, that's something to think about. The different in that fraternity is so different. Plus, like, dude, if there's any commissioner out there that gets it, like, basketball just knows what they're doing. Their marketing is fantastic. Like, I think when you go through like the early 2000s era, when like hip hop was merging with the NBA, and how they're culturally so relevant. And I think, like, as the league, I don't think there's a better like fan score. I don't know if that's like an actual thing, but like, if you're looking at fan score of like how many of the fans approve of everything that's going on, I would say the NBA probably has the best fan score in terms of everyone's like, we love what we're seeing, like, we love what's going on. Like, if you look at baseball, like, there's always people that are like, I love baseball, but the MLB, it got some problems, and I think the NBA probably has the best fan score. So that's what I would say. Plus, I would also, in regards to would I give a PED to friends to make money, I would definitely push them in other directions, especially when they're so young, because like, there's so many other factors that go into make it into the league. Like, taking steroids is not going to just immediately put you there. And I would like push them towards like a good agency or something like that. And that's what would put them there rather than just PEDs. I had a roommate in college and I guess I got to be careful about this, but I had a roommate in college that was a quarterback that was on PEDs and got kicked off the team. And because of it, because he failed the drug test. I'm just going to leave it there. But anyway, he was on PEDs and it was not pretty. And it wrecked a lot of other stuff. And he got kicked off the team and never made it to the pros. So wasn't worth it for him.
Yeah, I have to think about like people like my son who wants to play pro baseball one day. And there's no way that I would ever recommend that he get anywhere near that stuff. And I agree. That's a good point. Like, there's so many other factors, and the risk reward scenario is just like, it doesn't go in the right direction. It's not worth it. So I don't know. We're going to keep it moving here, but real quick, Ziggy, respect you as well. Thanks for dropping the comment about my hustle and our hustle here. We're trying to do the best we can. And we're always going to disagree from time to time with everybody out there, but that's really the point of what Kendall and I are doing, is to have a discussion and involve people and try to keep it positive, but always entertain as well, and try to be helpful, look at different angles. So I don't know about Zion either. I don't know about Zion, but we're going to move to Kendall's W of the week. Everybody keep dropping your comments in the chat, and we'll take them as we move through our segments here, and we'll take the Q&A at the end of the show. But Kendall, what was your W of the week?
So I guess I had a couple of W's this week. I mean, I don't know how big a W needs to be considered to be a W, but there's a couple things that I like made progress on this week, which I consider that a W. And if you see it over my right shoulder here, I got a Pelican case for the National that I was like, okay, last year I was just kind of carrying them around in my backpack. I wasn't really professional, and when I would come to tables, I'd be like, oh, are you trading or buying? And then I would like just rummage through and stuff. And I looked around and realized like the serious guys, like it's all about presentation to some level, right? And so I ended up getting a safety like case where it's like waterproof, very safe that I can take it on an airplane. Not going to be worried about my slabs cracking and like, running around inside of my backpack, stuff like that. So I ended up getting an Apache case from Harbor Freight, actually. So this was like $38 and I got a July 4th discount for like 20% off that. So definitely like if you're looking for a case that's good and secure, but definitely price effective, the Apache from Harbor Freight is definitely the way to go. I'm very impressed with it so far. It is exactly like what I wanted in quality wise, which like I've never bought anything from Harbor Freight and been like, dang, this is good quality other than this. And like if you don't have a Harbor Freight, then maybe I ordered it online, so you can ship it to you. I got the 3800. I thought it was a good size for like the amount of cards I'm taking. I think if you wanted something a little smaller, you could do that. If you had like maybe 5 to 10 slabs that you were trying to carry around, there's one smaller option. I think it's like the 2800. And then there's some bigger ones too. So I just know that anything bigger than this, I would have a hard time carrying around at an event all day long. So 3800 definitely. That's my win of the week. I really wanted to make a move towards having a more secure place to put my cards, and I got my Mike Trout back from PSA. So yes. the Mike Trout Bowman Chrome 2011 Bowman Chrome that I like love, and I was able to purchase earlier this year. Sent it to PSA, got it back. Unfortunately, it did not come back a 10, which is what I wanted. Obviously, you always want a 10 when you send in any card, but and I thought there was a decent chance too. And I knew that this was a decent chance to get a 10. So at the worst, I was okay with it coming back a 9. Anything below that, I would have been pretty upset with. And it came back a 9. So I definitely have more in it at this point than I bought it at, which is good. Oh, wait, you know what I'm trying to say. Like if I was to sell it right now, even with his market being down, I would make a profit on it. But this is one that is personal for me, and I kind of want to hold it. And I might move it at the National depending on what I'm trading for. And that's something that I want to talk to you about in a minute is my strategy for the National and like what I'm planning to achieve. But the only way that I would leave the National without the Mike Trout is if it's trading up for something bigger.
Nice. Or trading up to the 10 of that card, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah.
I hope I didn't spoil. All right.
You didn't. That's not where I was going to go. But
to the next.
But I would do that.
Yeah. All right, cool. So great stuff. Love the new segments. Let us know what you think in the comments and or in the chat or on social media at No Offseason Card on Twitter, at Lefty McKee on Twitter. All right, so another new segment in the new show structure of the Sports Card Strategy Show. Our friends at Market Movers app by Sports Card Investor have a deals section in the premium product. And if you want to check this out, you can get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code No Offseason, all lowercase. And I noticed this in the mobile version of the app. It's obviously in the desktop version as well, but it's called Deals. And if you click on Deals, you can basically see who is down and what the most recent buy it now prices are for particular cards based on the percentage and the previous sales price from the previous sale. And so it's sorted by essentially in the mobile app who Market Movers thinks are the best deals based on whose prices are down. But if you go to the desktop app, the web-based version of the app, you just type in a player that you think is relevant to who you're trying to buy or who you're trying to look for, and it will immediately give you their best buy now deals. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to attempt to do this. So hold on one sec, Kendall. Let me know if you can see when I go over to my market movers. Do you see market movers on my screen right now? Because I don't have two monitors right now. Otherwise, I'd be able to do this. I apologize.
Yeah, we see it. It looks good. It's the
Okay.
Trae Young.
So when I'm back in my headquarters, I will be able to not have to lean on Kendall for telling me that. But anyway, let's get into my buy of the week. So my two buys of the week brought to you by Market Movers app. One is Trae Young, and I really like Trae Young because of the DeJounte Murray. I stuttered there for a second. The DeJounte Murray acquisition. The DeJounte Murray acquisition.
Today, Junior.
I meant to do that. Actually sounds kind of badass when you do it like you mean it. So Trae Young, I think, is a guy that is a little slept on because of Atlanta's, follow-up season to their Eastern Conference Championship.
They could be filthy this year.
Yeah, and they punted the regular season. They said that they were they said that the regular season didn't matter and all that stuff. And they're young, and so they go out and they acquire DeJounte Murray.
No pun intended.
Who's like, yeah, no pun intended with the Trae Young call. They're doubly young, and so now
doubly young.
Now you look at a guy like Trae, and you say, look. He's been there before, meaning the Eastern Conference Finals. He's got an improved supporting cast with DeJounte Murray, and start to look at his cards. And so if you just go to this deals section of the Market Movers app, you can see right here, one, the reason I like this is because I don't know that I would ever go looking for the Prism Purple Pulsar out of 35. I mean, I might, but like, I don't know that I would go specifically searching for that particular card. But if I know that I like Trae Young, obviously one thing I could do is I could go to nooffseason.com and I could upgrade to the premium version of the sports card investment report. Using the promo code NOOFFSEASON, I could save 20%, and I could see everything that Paul Hickey says about Trae Young and which cards to buy. But the other thing I could do is I could go to Market Movers, type in Trae Young, and I could see, wow, this purple Pulsar out of 35 sold a year ago for $9,000. Now the market's down. The buy it now price is $2,000 less than it was. So I'm not saying to necessarily go and click buy it now on this $7,000 card, but do I like Trae Young as a buy now? And do I like this card as a buy now? Potentially at a little bit better price? Absolutely. So am I going to monitor that? Absolutely. And then if I scroll down, I see my real Trae Young buy of the week is a 2018 Prism Rookie Signatures that's down by $240, down 18%. It is a Gem Mint 10, PSA 10 as well. So I really, really like that one. And then one other guy, I just want to give a shout out to Andy Kaysen, who's the host of the Football Card Strategy Show at nooffseason.com and on this feed, but also does an amazing job with Carter the Power. Shout out Football Card Quest. Their podcast is freaking awesome. It's like my new favorite podcast other than Kendall's content on the Baseball Card Strategy Show and the Soccer Card Strategy Show. But really, for real, like they have an amazing podcast. So Andy and Carter were talking a lot about Mitchell Trubisky, and Andy mentioned Mitchell Trubisky on the Football Card Strategy Show last week. Here's a 2017.
That is a take, my friend. I mean,
Power
I don't
out
know
of
if
49. And Mitchell Trubisky. So I would say on behalf of Andy, buy this card now. It's down to $350, down $100 from its last sale back in what Andy calls football card buying season, which is right after the Super Bowl. So it sold for $450 right after the Super Bowl. Hype season. Now we're in July. It's a little bit less NFL hype season. I think we're in a window to buy a card like this one now, right here, and then sell it in late August, early September, right when Mitchell Trubisky gets named officially named the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but before he has an opportunity to go out and lay an egg, that's when you sell this card. So I think this is my other buy it now, brought to you by Market Movers. And Kendall, I'm gonna hand it over to you to either comment on these and or get into your buy it now.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't touch Mitch Trubisky with a 10-foot pole, but that's just because I'm not a fan of what I've seen in his game. Plus, I'm a Browns fan, so I'm not gonna go there with the Steelers anyway. And I legitimately think there's a chance that that he doesn't end up starting. So Pittsburgh is a wild place, and they might just throw the rookie to the wolves, bro. I don't know, I don't know, but I do like the Trae Young thing. I think the Atlanta Hawks are going to be dirty this year. I think they're going to really impress some people. And I've been watching a lot of summer league stuff, and not that has anything to do with the Hawks, but I'm excited about basketball season personally because my team might be relevant again this year. So I'm not saying they're going to be good, but they might be relevant. Thunder up. So I do have one that it's a card I've been watching for almost a year actually. So and it's not going to look as good as yours because of the percentages and stuff are not the same. And I'm still trying to learn how to use this new tool because this is my first week having the ability to use Market Movers. Thank you, Paul. So let me share my screen real quick. All right, I think you have to pull it up. Like I gave the option. I think you have to throw it in here.
There we go.
All right, so this is a hockey card. This is a little bit of a foreshadowing of some other stuff to come for me. As some other things I wanted to talk about. I think hockey is a great buying opportunity right now because this card specifically, the buy it now price was $415. I actually had one on McKee that was offered for me for $385, which is a steal, I think, because the first time I looked at this, I'm going to butcher his name, but I'm going to say Kirill. The first time that I looked at this card was worth like almost $1,000, like less. I mean, maybe 12 months ago. The Wild didn't exactly do what they wanted to do this year. They didn't exactly make it as far as they wanted. They did make the playoffs, and Kirill did play very well. He was a very, very, very high anticipated guy coming over from Russia to the National Hockey League. I'm not going to try to act like I know a lot about hockey because I don't, but I do see it as an awesome buying opportunity. One, because my friend Paul from the Facebook page has been getting me on some things. I've been really researching some like 3 guys specifically, Kirill and some other guys I'm probably going to talk about later in the show. But this opportunity for me, I'm a Wild fan. I like Kirill, but I noticed this card is almost down 600 over the last year. Now, the stats don't look as good on this deal report. I will say that because, it says that's 2.7% higher than it was on July 10th. That was I think that was, obviously that's a day ago, but which is strange that they're even comparing it to a day ago, but regardless, I think like a month ago, this card was worth like $150 more than it is right now. I think hockey is an increasingly good buying opportunity right now because it's not one of the top 3 sports. And I think in the top 3 sports, there's less of an off-season buying opportunity right now because it seems like we're getting into a space where there's not a whole lot of price differentials between off-season and in season like we have seen in the past 5 years. Like if we're looking forward, I think the top 3 sports are going to have more consistency between off season and in season. I think there's going to be less opportunities to swing trade like there has been the past 5 years over the next 5 years. So if knocked my water bottle over. If I'm looking at the future, I think, okay, baseball, basketball, football are all not going to have as much off-season swings as we have seen previously. But I think hockey and soccer do still have that opportunity to buy in the offseason because there's less traders that are trading them that aren't fans of the sport. So, there's not just for instance, there's not guys like me out there that have nothing to do with hockey that are buying Kirill cards. They're just not. And so, like, you are having that opportunity in the other main 3 sports. The guys are like, hey, I don't know. Don't watch Russell Wilson. Think he's got an awesome opportunity. Definitely going to buy his card. So I think there's going to be there's going to be more parity in the next year and a half or so between off season and in season of the main 3 sports. But I think soccer and hockey have the opportunity to be really good buying opportunities in the off season still because of their national popularity. So that's why I like this card. That's why I think it's a good deal. It's, down $600. The guy's still a beast. The Young Guns card is definitely the card you want to have in the hockey department, unless you're getting autos and super high value cards. That's a different story. But I think this is a good buy.
Love the take on hockey. Love the use of Market Movers app, obviously. Steve Cummings is
Steve, I will be honest, I have no idea.
Steve Cummings is jumping in, and I just did a little Google search, and for those of you listening on Apple and Spotify, Steve jumped into the live feed chat here and said, isn't he in some trouble with the Kremlin for dodging military service? It does look like he is, according to The Athletic, in a political situation regarding his military requirements. He is still in Russia, according to NHL sources, was turned away from returning to the United States, something that is privately sending shivers down the spines of everybody in the Wild organization, even if they're publicly saying otherwise. That's according to The Athletic. So, I think that we don't know. We don't know what the situation is. But
I think that gives me more of a reason to buy him.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I agree. I mean, I think that could keep,
because he's still a top talent, and if he's like in all this feud and everything, we've talked about some of this, I think, briefly in some of our soccer chats because with Russian players, but maybe not. Maybe that was something else, but maybe I was just listening to a podcast.
F1. I know it happened in F1.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's what it was. You mentioned it in F1, but I think it's an awesome opportunity. Kirill is super, super young from what I remember. And he's definitely like all this stuff is going to get figured out someday. It's not like he's going to be in Russia forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's going to come back to the NHL and he's going to rip nets eventually. So I would see this as an awesome opportunity to get a very this is this Bowman first of hockey from what I understand is the Young Guns card. So yeah, I'm interested and I'm looking to actively get one. So
Kendall, I like it, man. And I also like, how I am with the storylines, right? And I like to kind of have this narrative in my mind. So like, what if the narrative on Kirill is like, he dodged military service in Russia, and in the United States, in North America, that's a heroic act, right?
Yeah.
And when he comes back over, now he's even this more.
And then he gets a green card, and then he's just like, middle finger, Russia, let's go.
Exactly.
And then everybody's going to want his cards.
I like it. And I'm loving the new show format. All right, so keeping it moving. Who to sell now? We're trying to help you maximize your sports cards profits every week, and every week we're gonna talk about who to sell now. I think this is something that is like a no-brainer topic as a segment. It can be quick, it can be long, whatever we want. Mine's gonna be really quick this week. Baker Mayfield, man. If you haven't sold Baker Mayfield yet, I think you got to sell Baker Mayfield. I could be wrong on this one. I know there's a lot of people buying Baker Mayfield with the hopes that he's going to earn the starting gig in Carolina and do something there. But I just think, you got to sell the hype. You got to sell the hype cycles with I think, Kendall, you just made a point about hockey being one of the remaining sports that people can kind of look at the same types of opportunities we were all looking at 2-3 years ago. Now everyone's wised up to the point where like we all sort of know what to do in terms of these hype cycles in the major sports. I think that like sometimes though we forget which end of the hype cycle we want to be on. What's the smarter end of the Baker Mayfield hype cycle to be on? The buying or the selling? And to me, it's the selling because, and I also look at it this way. If you've been holding a guy for a long time, waiting for something to happen, which all the Baker Mayfield, you got to think about it this way. regardless of what Baker Mayfield does in the NFL, think about the fact that over the last 12 months, like 12 months ago, Baker was a hot buy. He was a big time hot buy. And then he didn't perform. And so because of not performing, he was in a situation where all the people that invested in him have been holding him, waiting for something to happen to sell him. And so I think that if you're one of those people, you have to take advantage of that. Even if you're down on Baker from where you bought him a year ago, now is the time where he's ticked up a little bit, depending on what card you have. Now's the opportunity to get rid of the guy. I also just don't see him doing anything in Carolina. I don't see Carolina doing anything. The only caveat to what I'm saying is, like, if you want to wait until, if your strategy is like, I hear you, Paul, on Baker, I don't believe he's going to be awesome, but I want to try to make a little bit more money on him. And I think that there could be a little bit more profit waiting until maybe he does get officially named the starter when those announcements come during the NFL preseason, and then selling. I would be okay with that, but Baker is my sell of the week, and I probably won't talk very much about Baker after this, so that's another reason why I wanted him to be my sell of the week.
Yeah, I think there are some interesting storylines with the Baker situation. Because Higgins is also there, which was one of his favorite targets in Cleveland. And so that's interesting. First off, I think no one's really talking about that. The Higgins and Baker connection could be back in Carolina, which he played really well at times with Higgins. But interestingly, I still don't think it's going to be a more or less a battle he's still going to have to beat Sam Darnold out. And now that's telling you where it's come a long way from the Baker show, where he was drafted as a number 1 overall pick. And it's also come a long way for Sam Darnold. 5 years ago, we would have, if you would have said, yeah, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, same team, you're going to be like, holy cow, how did that happen? And who the heck is going to be the starter? And one of them has to be shipped out. It's like, oh, actually, no, both of them have been shipped in to compete for the number 1 spot, which says a lot about where their careers are at. But I'm not convinced that Baker is automatically going to be the starter. Now, where I would sell, I think you do have a point there where I would wait maybe a little bit further until, maybe there's a new Geico commercial or something with Baker in the Panthers uniform, or some sort of media presence to where he's, got some sort of Instagram where he's, maybe he follows like a Superman pose like Cam Newton. He does that, but it's Baker. I could see them doing something like that where it's like, hey, this is a new man in town. Carolina, you have a reason to be pumped up. Carolina's going to try to pump him up as best they can. I think that would be the best opportunity. But if you've got the opportunity right now to hedge your stop loss a little bit, if you invested last summer and now you're like, oh God, and 5 months ago, you were basically had a piece of toilet paper in your hand. Now you don't have a piece of toilet paper. You might want to get out while the getting's good.
Yeah, especially if you got a big card and you can find the right buyer,
Yeah. So I'm with you to a degree. So I'll say that. But my sell of the week is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is on a tear. And I'm not saying that Aaron Judge is not going to be good for a long time, but Aaron Judge, you've got an opportunity to buy into another guy who hasn't exploded yet. He is on fire. You might could just name your price on an Aaron Judge card and get whatever the heck you want for it. He's insane. And there's no guarantee that he's going to be a Yankee going forward. He's in pinstripes right now. Yankee fans are like, I'll do anything to buy a Yankee Judge or a Yankee Judge card and have him be a Judge and just stay in this euphoria that he's going to be a Yankee forever. I don't think he will be. I think he's on the move this offseason, or at least, in the next couple of years. And they might extend him a small extension, but Aaron Judge is going to get his money. And for the first time ever, I think the Yankees will not end up paying him. And I think you'll end up seeing a situation where he will be lining up in a different uniform someday. And so if you have an opportunity to make a fat stack on Aaron Judge, I would do it.
That is a great call, my friend. I love that. That's a perfect example of exactly how you should play the sports card market and maximize your profits, because Judge, like you said, he's on a tear. There's about to be the home run derby in the All-Star break next week. A week from today, I think, is the home run derby. And so
my favorite time to sell baseball players is at the All-Star break, because baseball is so long. And if they are mooning right now, this is the same thing I did with Shohei last June or last July.
Yep.
Like right as the All-Star break was happening, I got out of almost every one of my Shohei cards. Now, I mean, I was afraid of injury, like what happens, and I had 90% profit on some of these things. And I'm not going to wait for another 10% when the risk is so high at that point. Like, get your bag while you have it. Like, what did Paul say a couple weeks ago? Crystallize it.
Crystallize
those profits, man. Like this. Don't be so prideful. Like, don't think you're smart enough to realize that the chance could happen where Aaron Judge gets hurt tomorrow.
Yeah, and even like I think that I agree. Like the odds that he continues to perform like this are not high. Also, even if he does continue to perform like this, it doesn't mean that his card value is just going to continue to go up.
Yeah, I think maybe there's a 10% more ceiling, maybe. Yeah. But, like, dude, probably from where you bought Aaron Judge, this is the best time in the world to sell him.
Yeah, love it. All right, let's move along to our next segment, which is Would You Rather? And we can take this in any number of directions every week. We can kind of have some fun with this because we've also got the Gauntlet coming up. And the Gauntlet is going to be distinct from Would You Rather. So we could do things, Kendall, like would you rather have a painting of a horse head that looks like a penis sticking out of your neck, or would you rather knock over your water cup and make a loud noise in the middle of the show? We could do stuff like that if we want, or we could
water bottle for sure.
Okay, there you go. Or we could do stuff like, would you rather, if you had to invest in one player, out of these two, who would it be? Would it be Giannis or would it be Kevin Durant? And I'll just read you, Kevin Durant is 33 years old, 12-time All-Star, 2-time champ. We know about his championships with Golden State. He's a one-time MVP winner, NBA League MVP winner, 2 times Finals MVP. And then you've got Giannis, who's 6 years younger, and he's got 2 NBA MVPs, 1 championship, 1 NBA Finals MVP among his accolades. So I think those are the big ones, and that's kind of why I raised the question. Why it's an interesting conversation to me. I know my answer, but if you had to invest in one of these two guys, knowing that there's some hype around Durant right now with the potential trade market, and there's not a lot of hype around Giannis in Milwaukee, at least currently. There's a lot of love and belief in Giannis, I know that, but in terms of the hype cycle, there's not. But if you had to invest in one of these guys right now and you could only buy one, who would you pick?
Well, I hate Kevin Durant. Let's just start there. He really rubbed my taters the wrong way when he left for Golden State. Like, I was so upset about it. I was torn apart when he did that. We had just made the finals and almost beat them, then he just leaves. And then when we had already had Harden leave, and it was just like, then he left, and then Westbrook left, and then Baca, and all, we had a team, dog. Anyway, the Thunder are definitely in a much better place now than they were 4 years ago. But if you took the name off of it and just gave the opportunity in front of me, and you were to say, if you were to put $100 down today and you had this accolade, this marker, blah, 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 this ambiguity in this situation versus this situation over here, I think I might pick Durant because of the situation change, thus vaulting new buyers into the situation. But when I look at them honestly, I don't think there is career markers like we talk about a lot. I don't think there's career markers for either one of them that are objectively close. So emotionally, I'd rather have Giannis. I think if I'm putting on my investor hat, I think I'd rather have Durant right now. But even in both situations, I don't know if there's a whole lot of room for growth for either one of them over the next 12 months.
Yeah. Good take. I like to get other people's takes on questions that I think are super obvious to me because I don't always look at things objectively when I'm just kind of in my daily fan life. And so I like the points that you made. And I think that, my answer is Giannis for a lot of reasons, but it'd be interesting to see if anyone drops in the comments who they would rather have, KD or Giannis. I think
there's a lot more Giannis cards. I think that's another point to play into it. Yeah,
KD's 07 rookie, and Giannis is 2013 rookie. So there's 6-year difference is pretty big. But, I will say a point could be made. Like I'm trying to think of counterpoints to Giannis because I just am in love with Giannis, and that's who I'm buying really exclusively right now. But I think that counterpoints can be made. Like Giannis cards, the designs of all of them, there's not really one Giannis card that has like a design that I'm like, oh, that's a sick ass design. Like that's a sweet design. I've got to have that Giannis card. I'm more buying Giannis cards because of Giannis and who I believe he is versus what the cards actually look like. That Durant's cards, I think Durant has some cards that are a little bit more iconic of a design, cleaner designs. He's got some Topps cards, some Fleer cards. The Giannis Prism cards don't look that great to me, and that might.
He looks like he's 12 years old.
He does, and
he was young.
He looks completely different. Not to.
I think that's actually. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
That's okay. Would you rather get cut off or would you rather finish your thought? I don't know.
I'd rather get cut off now.
I was just gonna say, like, he looks like the actor that plays him in the movie Rise on Disney Plus.
Like, when does that come out?
Looks exactly like that actor. Like,
it was a great casting.
Casting job, amazing. Which whatever. I mean, I like that, but I mean, I just don't like the design of the Giannis cards. Yeah. I'd love people to let me know their thoughts on that too. But I think KD's cards are a little more iconic. So if you're looking at like a 10-20 year investment, I could see the case being made for KD. But I could also see people going, you know what, KD's legacy is a little weird. Giannis has the opportunity to have a legacy where he stays with one team his whole career and never pisses anybody off.
I think KD's legacy is going to get weirder.
Yeah,
I don't think it's getting any better.
I think you're right. I don't like what he's doing right now, for the record, either. So,
but what I was going to say, and when I accidentally interrupted you, was now that I think about it, I think about like LeBron, I think about KD, I think about Chris Paul, I think about Giannis for sure. So all their rookie cards make them look really weird and like almost like they're like they just don't all have flattering rookie cards. Like, like the I'm thinking about the white suit LeBron. I'm like, God, man, that looked horrible. Like when you look at that, you're not like, man, I gotta have that card. And when I think about Kobe rookie cards, I think about being like, I have to have that card. Or like MJ, like I'm thinking like, oh dang, like those are sick looking cards. And when I think about Durant, when I think about LeBron, when I think about Chris Paul's a little bit this way.
Steph's cards are kind of
yeah. They all look like they're like 15 years old. Nobody wants to like ponder on a guy that they feel weird about, like
yeah.
I mean, so I think there might be something to that in the long run. I don't know. Maybe we can retool that in the future for a new segment and like looking comparatively. But I think maybe there was just like an age of time that's like we don't want to open that box back up. Like honestly, I'd rather have older Giannis cards or older LeBron cards because like those are the guys that I fell in love with. I fell in love with their game. I fell in love with like the way that they just dominated, the way that like I loved Cavalier LeBron, but like when I think of first Cavalier LeBron, I think of airball and free throws LeBron. When I think of like the first time that I was like, this dude is the best I've ever seen, I either think about his high school look or I think about him in a Heat uniform. And so then I do think about him later in his career when I think about the Cavs. But I also, when I think about Giannis, when I think about the Giannis that was like the guy, I think about like the tone shoulders. I think about him just like dominating, him doing almost like the dunk from the free throw line type runs. I don't think of the kid that was like squirrely running around. You're like, dude, that guy's got to be like 110 pounds, which was the first thing. I think the first time I saw him in the NBA, he was 17 years old. So it's just like, I don't think about that Giannis. So it's just like, which card would you rather have in the long run? The one that brings back the fondest memories or the one that was the first card? I don't know which one holds more value.
Yeah, no, it's a good discussion. I like the discussion from a lot of different angles. Like, do players get more involved in the future in the photo selection of their rookie cards because the sports card market is gaining popularity in the mainstream? You've got guys that are collecting their own cards.
Yeah.
The awareness level of cards in front of these guys is only going to grow with fanatics taking over. So,
dude, that is a huge question. I've never thought about that.
They're going to see these designs, and I know how these guys are because I've worked with them. They're going to see these designs more and more, and they're going to be like, that's whack. I want to select I'm not signing this card unless I select the photo. I'm not letting you put a sticker. People, the guys are going to, the guys and women are going to start saying, I'm not going to let you take a sticker that I'm signing right now and just put it on any photo of me. I want to see that photo of me and approve it. So I think, And
if you're a manager of an athlete, you bet your dollar that you want that looking well. I think about Bobby Witt Jr.'s Bowman first card. It looks horrible. It looks like he's a claymation version of himself. I don't know what they did to the card. It looks horrible. But like,
who's even on James Harden's rookie card? It's the only time that he hasn't had facial hair in his entire life.
That's true.
That could be anybody.
I know. You're right. Harden? I mean, it's like but like he didn't become the beard until later though. So it's just like, how do you know that? Like he probably could have approved that photo of himself and didn't know that he was going to become an icon that way.
Maybe.
But anyway, that's interesting. That is interesting. I do have a would you rather, but it's not super big. Do you want me to do it?
Of course.
All right. So would you rather have a $200,000 card in your PWCC vault? Or would you rather have a lake house that's worth $200,000? So that's, now to give you some perspective, I'm thinking a $200,000 lake house actually probably isn't like a super nice lake house. I'm thinking like that's probably a house that's maybe 1, maybe 2 bedrooms, like probably not super fancy because lake houses are, it's a pretty penny for a lake house. So a $200,000 lake house probably isn't like super crazy awesome, but it is a lake house.
It's a good question because like my gut reaction was lake house, like when you first asked the question. But as I'm mulling it over here, I think I would take card in vault because I'm gonna bank on the ability to crystallize the investment more in the card than on the lake house, even though the housing market is insane still to a certain extent. And you can, pretty much everything's still liquid in the housing market. $200,000 lake house, I don't think is going to do it for me. Like I need I need a house to live in right now. And I feel like maybe selling the card might give me more money to get me the house to live in. Then the lake house might present more problems for me and be harder to sell. Maybe I have to put more money into the lake house to sell it. So for my own personal situation, I'm going to pick card.
Cool. I think I've always wanted a lake house. I've always wanted a place that I can just go and forget about my worries. Doesn't have to be nice. I just want to go somewhere where it's mine and I can just chill. It doesn't even have to have Wi-Fi. Actually, I would prefer it to not have Wi-Fi so I could just get off the map,
I like it.
But I think I would still choose the vault because, and here's why. I think there's less things that I'd have to manage. When I think about assets, I think about, okay, if you have a company that's worth $1 million, that's awesome. That means you got a lot of responsibilities because you got to make sure that company stays $1 million company unless you're selling it today.
That's a good point. Good point.
And so at a house that's worth $200,000 as a lake house, I haven't seen Arden's lives in genius.
Green, welcome
Greeny
back to the chat, man. Love it.
But I think, I'd have to go there every once in a while, make sure, there's no leaks or anything like that. Like maybe it's not even in my town, so that's going to cost money to, I think now it would obviously depend on the card. If it's a $200,000 Baker Mayfield card, I don't know if that's a thing, but first off, but if it is, I don't want that one, but if it's a $200,000 GOAT card, I'll say that I'd rather have the card because I think there's less variable. I think there's less variables. And I think when I'm looking at money, I want my money to have less variables.
Yeah, that's very well said. That's a great way of putting it. And I think that's exactly where my mind's at too with the asset. What's going to be the least amount of maintenance for the asset to try to crystallize, like Paul Fisher says. And I think it's card. I think I would like to have a lake house too. I would like to have, but I also, I think that and nothing against people with $200,000 lake houses. That's nothing to shake a stick at, but it is not a high-end lake house, whereas a $200,000 card is a high-end card. So yeah, I'm going card. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. We're having fun today on Sports.
Was that kind of what you wanted?
Absolutely. All absolutely. Right. That's perfect. That's perfect. All right. So now let's get to the Gauntlet, because the Gauntlet is our hardcore way to talk about a ton of different things at once. And that's why I like about the Gauntlet, because it kind of brings together all different aspects of sports card investing. We can talk about multiple sports, multiple athletes, multiple investment strategies, multiple card types, all in one discussion. So I'm going to lead off and I'm going to do my Gauntlet first. And then Kendall, for the first time ever, is going to run me through a Gauntlet. And I'm super excited about that. So we don't know really anything about what we're going to ask each other. So
unless other than the title that I saw on the screen there, I don't know anything about what
that's a little bit. That's the first time you've been given any heads up about this Gauntlet.
That is true.
Here we go. So let's start with, I don't even know who I'm starting with. All right, Giddey up.
Giddey, let's go, dude.
Giddey up, playoff ticket out of 99 sticker auto. Good looking card though.
Yeah.
Weird choice of photo by this eBay seller in terms of like a Louis Vuitton bag of some sort in the background, and you can barely see the card. But
what a power move! First off,
20.
Not only do I have this $600 Giddey, I also have a Louis Vuitton.
A Louis Vuitton case with the Giddey sitting in it. Okay.
It's clearly for jewelry.
Clearly for jewelry.
That is hilarious.
And, I picked Giddey for a couple of reasons. One, he's playing in the NBA Summer League. I saw some people on Twitter making some funny comments about, like, why is he in the Summer League? The dude's only 19. and it's his second year. The summer league's not just for rookies. It's about getting guys some minutes. Giddey getting some chemistry with Chet. Why not get him in there? So this Giddey $599 buy it now raw contenders playoff rookie ticket out of 99, or Mitchell Trubisky 2017 Donruss rated rookie autograph gem mint 9510 auto for $450. They're in the same price range. Giddey, you can make an offer, probably try to get it for around $450. Mitchell, you can make an offer or you can buy it now at $450. I think I know who you're going to pick here, Kendall. This is a layup.
I didn't know that you were going to go Mitch Trubisky earlier when I just slammed your take on him. Giddey up all the way right here. And for the record, I love what the Thunder are doing in the Summer League. Most teams spend the Summer League as a tryout period. The Thunder have done something that is maybe a little bit of a hot take, where they are using it as a chemistry builder. They are using it as they are basically running out, for the most part, they're running out their starters. And they've got anybody from Giddey to Trae Man out there just balling. And of course, SGA is not there, and you do have some role players that aren't out there. But Pokashevsky's out there, Giddey's out there, Chet's out there, Trae Man's out there. You got all the Jalen Williams you've ever had, that you ever wanted, out on all the two of them. You got both of them. You might as well have all the Jalen Williams out there. And that team is deciding that it's going to take a stance on chemistry rather than the ability to get hurt or not. And Giddey missed a good portion of last year with an injury, especially towards the tail end of the season. And I think they want to see how he performs. And he goes out there and dunks on somebody's head, Paul. Like, I love it. He's out there. Not only is he playing, but he's going to win. I have taken the Thunder spread every single night in. Now, that's a different topic, but I've taken the spread every single night in the Summer League and made some coin. They only have missed it one time. So the Thunder are out there competing. Everyone else is trying out to make the team. The Thunder are going to win the dang Summer League. That is my take.
Let's go, man. I'm hype about the Thunder too. Not as hype as you are, but I am hype about the Thunder. I'm hype
you're
about
on board.
Josh Giddey. I think Josh Giddey is a buy now. I think he's a buy later. I think he's a hold. I think he's a stud. I think he's somebody that people can make a lot of money on if they buy the right Josh Giddey cards. I think he's a guy that you could go all in on and make a lot of money over the next few years in investing in Giddey cards now, because there's nowhere to go but up for this kid. I mean, I see it. I see it.
I think the only guy I wouldn't invest in right now as a Thunder player is Chet. Because Chet's value is maybe not, I mean, it is super high right now.
It's super high. I agree. It's super high. And his cards are not investable cards yet for the long term.
Yeah.
So
he's the only guy that I would hold off on the Thunder right now.
If you're holding a Chet because you bought a Chet that we talked about in a previous show, unlicensed, now would be a great time to sell that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he's
based on how he's
actually the best time would have been when he set the Summer League record for the blocks record.
Like 2 days ago would have been
2 days ago.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so
let's get to the next one.
So let's see if I can do a better job in the next one. I don't know if you're familiar with Coco Goff, Kendall. I wanted to test your sports overall knowledge here, because you always say that you're only good at one sport in terms of sports card investing, and then that's baseball. But then you talk about soccer, and you've got way more knowledge than most people. And then you talk about basketball, and then you got way more knowledge, et cetera, et cetera. And then you brought up a hockey card earlier, and you're very well-rounded when it comes to sports knowledge and sports card investing knowledge. So I wanted to throw a little bit of a curveball at you here with Coco Goff. She's an 18-year-old U.S. women's tennis star. She has not won a major Grand Slam event yet, and I just added her to the Sports Card Investment Report at nooffseason.com. Just added a new fresh profile for Coco. I'd encourage all of you to check that out and save 20% using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. all lowercase at checkout on the premium version, so you can see which Coco Goff cards I think you should be investing in right now. And I think now could be a great time to buy Coco because she does have Upper Deck Exquisite autos and Upper Deck Goodwin Champions autos, serial numbered. This one has 3 bids on it. There's 1 day left. You can enter in a bid for just less than the Giddey card. And I think you probably win this Coco Goff card for not much higher than the $5.99 that Giddey would go for. So I put it in the same category, and it's a little bit of a different play, but to me, there's a clear play with Coco here. And I just want to see what you think about Coco versus your guy Giddey.
Well, let me just start with, I know who Coco is. And that's about as far as it goes with my tennis knowledge. Tennis is probably the lowest sport on my totem pole. That's probably actually not true. When you would put one against another, I think there's probably sports lower than that. But in terms of investable sports in the sports card industry, it's pretty low for me. I don't know a whole lot about it, nor do I care to know a lot about it. But what I do care about is making money. And I know that Coco is young enough to be on a platform that she's never won a tournament yet, that as soon as she would win a tournament, this card will go bananas. So the fact that she does have exquisite autos shows that somebody somewhere knows that she's a dog. So I would say it's a good opportunity to buy it, especially if she's never won like you said, she's never won do they call them majors?
Yeah, they call them Grand Slams. They are majors.
So she's never won a Grand Slam. So I think the opportunity is good because the sport is looking for a new person. Like there's life cycles in every sport, and when there's people getting off the tracks in terms of retirement, there's new ones that need to come on. The Williams sisters, they've been it for a long time, and I'm not saying they're done, but they're definitely close, and so the sport is looking for a new person to take that mantle. And there are other athletes out there that are much better than Coco and probably more marketable than Coco. That's going to be where my ignorance is going to show in terms of the tennis market. So in this reason, I'm going to take the Giddey because I think there's more liquidity for me. I'm going to be able to find a buyer easily for the Giddey than I would. I could see this card going up on an auction, and maybe like it sells. Let's say it sells for $5.90. I could see you posting this. I'll buy it now for $6.90, and it's sitting there for a long time. You know what I mean? And yeah. I could see you selling the Giddey auto for $100 more for $6.99 in 3 months. To 1,500 different people. I just think there's more liquidity with the Giddey. Plus, I'm way more emotionally involved in the Giddey card, so I'm going to take the Giddey card. Although, I don't think this is a bad investment.
Nice. The Coco Goff play is something to look at. Drop us a comment or a question about what you think about this gauntlet. And the last guy.
Oh my gosh, Greeny! Don't even give me that.
Let's talk about the second Max Muncy. Let's talk about an out of 50 auto. Bowman first for Max Muncy. This is a hot card, right? Talk to me about Max Muncy first, because you're the guy to talk us through this. And then let's talk about who you pick, either him or Giddey.
Wow, what a pretty card, first off. I have loved Max Muncy's Bowman card. There are some cards that get into a set that you just have an affinity for. And Max Muncy was the first Bowman first color card that I pulled this year out of this Bowman set. And I pulled a purple one. It wasn't an auto, but I pulled a purple Bowman first Max Muncy card. Now, respectively, Max Muncy is 19 years old at A-ball. He's under 30K%, which is always what I look for. And he's over 100 WRC plus. His ISO is over 200. So this dude is playing very well right now. And he's 19 years old at the A-ball level. The Oakland A's do not have a whole lot going right for them right now. I bet 95% of their fans are just praying for Max Muncy every night when they go to bed. I'm sure they're like, please hope this guy never get hurt ever, and so I like him as a player. He's not on top 100 lists yet. For instance, at justbaseball.com, I was looking last night. Max Muncy is not on our top 100 list. And as a shortstop in that draft class with a bunch of other shortstops, he had the opportunity to be valued at a top 100 list. So I think when I'm looking at my friends that are scouts that help develop that, and I respect their opinion very highly, there is something about Max Muncy that they're not just electric about. I'll say that. I don't know what it is. I think I'm higher on Max Muncy than they are. I'll give you that. Now, this card specifically is iconic because he is not playing the sport in his picture. He's not swinging, he's not fielding, he's not throwing, and typically those cards stick in people's minds. With the Lou Bob card, Lou Bob is at a press conference in his rookie first Bowman, or his Bowman first. That card sticks in people's minds. When you look back on cards like we talked about with the LeBron and the Durant and all that kind of stuff, you can think about at least one of their cards that you're like, that's the one that is in my head that sticks into it. This will be Max Muncy's card that sticks in people's heads. With it being $600, I think you could actually get it cheaper than that right now. So I'm going to say that you could probably offer this person around $520. So I'm going to say that you can definitely get it in there underneath the Giddey card. Plus, being out of 50, if this grades well, this has the opportunity to be a multi-$1,000 card down the road. So I'm going to take the opportunity to pick Max Muncy over Josh Giddey because Bowman Chrome autos that are numbered, that are graded well, go for insane money, and he's in a premium position on a team that needs help. Give me the Max Muncy.
Kendall just made me want to make an offer on this card. I think I'm just going to add it to my watch list.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick, man. Love the analysis there. Great work.
I gave you positives and negatives on him.
I'm glad that it wasn't just a runaway Giddey show because I was worried at the Trubisky and the Gauff, but probably not our most challenging gauntlet for you, but at least we talked about some good cards. So good work.
Wow. I really like that. I think the team color on that card makes it what it is. Yeah, like if you had a different Max Muncy card, it would have been a lot harder. But man, like for some reason, team color Bowman autos go for insane money sometimes. So, I mean, like Bowman cards have a roof, dude. Like, and it is a roof.
All right, dude. So before we get into your gauntlet for me, let's just catch up quickly on some comments. Appreciate everybody in the live chat. So I was not able to have a double monitor here, so let's just quickly catch up. Steve Cummings talking about what we talked about earlier. Giannis rookie card that comes to mind is the Hoops card in terms of design. That says obviously that is lower, and that's a good point, Steve. I agree with that.
His Hoops card definitely looks better.
I agree. Like if great point. RPO 100% on Malake House. Could rent out some. Hey, we didn't talk about renting it out for some passive income. That's a good point, RPO.
That's a good point.
Toa, what's up?
What up, Toa? Welcome back.
Greeny Green says giddy up.
Giddy up, baby.
We got an SP123 new audience member. Welcome. Gauff will eventually win 1 to 2 majors. Will probably go up in the long term. Cool. Glad we see some Coco love. Greeny Green's rolling with Coco. Giddey gives him Ricky Rubio vibes. That's funny.
That's terrible.
That's gonna piss Kendall off. All right.
That is.
RPO says Muncy. Greeny Green.
Cool name.
Cool name.
His autos are so clean.
A cool name. It's a popular name in baseball, apparently.
Yeah.
And then
I additionally, I mean, I think that adds to his market. Like you don't have
talk about that real quick.
So Max Muncy is already a major leaguer that went to Baylor that is now in, I don't know why I just said he went to Baylor. That is a random fact that you do not care about. He was a Baylor Bear. And so he is a second baseman for the Dodgers. Extremely good player. People thought he was going to be in the race for the MVP this year, which is crazy because he did not even get close. He's had a really rough year for Max Muncy. He's had a rough year. Now, in the past week or two, he's come on really strong. I actually think it would be a pretty good buying opportunity for a guy like the Dodgers, Max Muncy, because he was so bad for so long. But because there's already a major leaguer with that name, I think you will get some residual income from that. I've seen other players get random hype because they look like another card or stuff like that. Like, when I go to last year, when I would go to card shows, I would see people pick up Vidal Brujan thinking that it was a Franco card. Now, it is not too much of a leap for me to think that people bought Brujan just because they thought it was Franco.
Yeah, or like I think he gets love because they thought it's Franco, and then even though they don't buy it, they do research on him. Like that now they have some level of awareness about him.
Yeah, that's a great point. Plus, yeah, I think there's a couple of those kind of things that play into Max Muncy's, lore. I'm pretty sure that he was a first rounder. So I'm about 80% sure he was the first round pick for the Oakland A's last year. And he's a shortstop. When you have a shortstop first round in the draft, that's going to inflate your value no matter if you're good or not. I mean, we see Ed Howard and Poisson's cards still going. And they are bona fide bums. They are horrible, and they're still moving cards. I pulled a Mojo Ed Howard yesterday. Like, their Tops is still like, hey, let's put this out here. So I still think Max Muncy's name is going to be well known enough that he's going to have a decent market share.
Nice. All right, I'm ready for my gauntlet. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Let me close out some of my tabs here. I don't know. I don't want these people to find me on the interwebs. Okay. Okay, let me just start by saying this. I thought that we were I tried to do stuff that was only players that you love, and I couldn't get all the numbers to come in the right. Like, you had one that was like $1,200, and then you had one that was like $60, and I was like, this isn't gonna work because none of the prices were right. So I ended up trying to do around $800.
Okay.
So when you do these things, think about $800. So you have, like, for the first card that you're going to show in just a second, you can already see it right on your screen.
Well, let me add it to the stream.
Yeah, you might as well see. So we're going to start off with the iconic Wayne Gretzky rookie card. This is a card I have been looking everywhere for. So a little spoiler alert, and I don't know if we were going to talk about it or not. Maybe we'll just talk about it right here. My national strategy is I am going to buy there we go. One of these cards. I'm not a 1. I'm trying to shoot for like a 5 or a 6 personally. But I am trying to find a 1979 Wayne Gretzky to vault and just sit on it because they're low right now because of my NHL take I took earlier. This card is in a definite buy zone for me. So it went from $1,500 to about $1,300 in the PSA 5 range, and I think like that's a good opportunity to get in on a guy who is beloved. And so anyway, that was my national strategy. Is I'm trying to find a Wayne Gretzky card that is worth anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000, and I'm trying to get in on it because I want to invest in a card that would be a set it and forget it type thing. So anyway, your gauntlet is starting with Wayne Gretzky PSA 1 rookie card. I don't know if you had an affinity for Wayne, but what I do know is that he's the GOAT. There's no one better. And this is a super cool looking card. It's sky blue. Like, this was before they really did color variations. And so I think the fact that it looks awesome, it really plays into its value of it being a 79 Topps rookie card, Wayne Gretzky. So This is your first one
versus
a downtown PSA 10 Ja Morant Murray State card worth around the same amount of money. So in this situation, you would either get one of these cards plus $50.
Okay. This is super hard.
Do you want me to go back and forth?
I think I'm going to go Gretzky. I'm going to go Gretzky because all the reasons you stated about the card. So there's, I think long term, there are going to be more people interested. I feel good. I feel better about this card in my vault and in my collection to potentially crystallize later because of who Gretzky is. And the 1 grade doesn't bother me. And I'll tell you why, because Michael Jordan 1986 Fleer graded authentic by PSA, which means that they could be, well, let me clarify, graded authentic altered by PSA go for around $1,000 last I checked. And I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. I might be wrong, but the 1 grade doesn't matter that much because it is this card and it is PSA slabbed with a grade. So I think that as the years go by and as the decades go by, this card is going to continue to go up in value regardless of what happens. Whereas I think
there's just going to be some that are hard to find eventually.
Yeah, and I think that like it's an iconic card and it's never not going to be an iconic card, where I think that in hockey, I think still has a lot of room to grow in general. Whereas the Ja Morant Murray State for me doesn't do anything. If it was Ja Morant Grizzlies, I think it would have been a lot harder of a decision. But I think that if it was Ja Morant Grizzlies, it would have been double the price. So that's probably the situation. But it is tough because, I mean, Ja Morant PSA 10 downtown, he is Ja. I do love him, but I'm going to go Gretzky.
Now, I will say I pulled all 5 of these cards off of the deal zone on Market Movers app. So they're all fantastic deals right now.
Nice. That's great. And of course, don't forget promo code no offseason, first month
promo code
Market Movers app.
That's funny. Okay, so you're gonna go with the Wayne.
Yep.
All right, good. That's what I wanted you to pick. That's what I was hoping you'd pick, because I think it makes this choice a little harder. You got the Wayne versus
Urban Mac. Oh, it's Kobe. Not Urban
9.5 Kobe.
All right. Wow.
But this one is $650. So you would have a 9.5 Kobe with the opportunity to pay the $100 to get it crossed over and have the same amount of money that you would with the Gretzky.
Okay. I love that this happened because the Gauntlet is amazing because I can weave in another topic that I wanted to talk about today. I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do here. Exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Kobe over the Gretzky.
Okay.
And I am going to personally crack the slab myself.
Okay.
And then I am going to submit it to PSA for $18 because they just opened up their, for a limited time only, $18 economy submission. Now, there are some restrictions on that. I believe it's 150-day turnaround time, which who cares because it's Kobe. And I think you have to have a 20 card minimum. And I've got 19 other cards that I would submit with this just for shit.
And it has to be under $199 raw value.
It does. Okay.
Which I think this card is under $199.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. I think it also has to be under $499 insurance or whatever. So, yeah, I'm going to go Kobe and I'm going to crack it. What I might actually do is like hold it for a little while in the BGS 9.5, examine it, see, take my time with that decision. I think I can pay $50 or $60 to actually have PSA crack the slab and cross grade it. But I think better odds, maybe if it's raw, let me know what you think in the comments. Either way, I'm going Kobe.
Okay. So you're going to take one GOAT with another. You're going to leave the Gretzky behind and go with the $650 plus. So you're getting $150 plus this Kobe card.
Yep. Gem mint grade over 1 grade, GOAT versus GOAT, basketball versus hockey. Things line up for me to go basketball on that one.
All right. So this one versus a $700 Kylian Mbappe Select Silver. PSA 9. PSA 9.
Ooh. Interesting.
So with this one, you would also get the Kylian Mbappe plus $100.
And there's no RC logo on that one, right?
I don't believe so. No.
I think there's a Father's Day card with him with an RC logo Panini. I'm not sure. Anyway,
this is the field level silver prism.
Field level. Is it serial numbered?
No, I don't believe so.
Interesting. That would be interesting to have that right before the World Cup. I don't have any Mbappe that are quite that
this
nice.
one. Yeah.
I've got a couple Mbappe 2018 base Panini World Cup stickers in it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Most Mbappe cards that are this year that are graded are stickers. Most of them.
That's a pretty sick card. It's buy it now for $709, huh?
Actually, that is actually the price it's sold for. This is a finished auction.
Finished auction. Oh, very nice. Well, okay. So now what we're talking about is we're talking about two different plays because Kobe is like a long-term potential hold and see what happens. I think if that PSA 10s, if that Kobe PSA 10s, I think it's probably $400 or $500 increase in value from the BGS 9.5. Maybe more. I don't know. If Mbappe, but if I just take this Mbappe card, basically what the play is I'm holding it, hoping that there's some serious hype when this upcoming international football season starts, as well as the World Cup. I'm hoping he's a hero in the World Cup for France. If I take this card,
definitely a bigger risk.
I think I'm going to keep Kobe, honestly. I'm feeling the Kobe.
Okay. Cool. Yep. So you're gonna keep this Kobe 9.5 with your $150 and you're gonna go send it off to an $18 slab cracker.
That's what I'm doing. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly doing that.
All right. This one is probably gonna bust your balls a little bit. You ready for this?
Let's go.
This is the card, I think, from what I understand. If I was going for this guy, this is the one I would want. It is a PSA 5 triple cutout with Magic Johnson, Julius Erving, Larry Bird, the 1980 Topps collection. This is a PSA 5, so you don't get any money, but it is $800 on the dot. Would you rather have this or a base Kobe 9.5 BGS with $150?
I'm going to take this card because this is probably going to be a card that I just keep forever. And that's just kind of fun. I will honestly rarely ever say that. This is a card that I definitely want. How many bids? There were 2 bids on this and it sold for $809 on July 1st. Wow. 2 bids. Whoever won that did a great job. I think that's a great,
I would 100% agree.
Phenomenal purchase. Had I been tracking that, I probably would have tried to outbid that person because that is the card, man. Not often do you see the 3 of them together. There are different variations of those pictures, but
I have seen one of these raw. Can you imagine just sitting on one of these?
Whew. No, I'd go straight to PSA with that. I don't know why somebody would keep it raw, but anyway. Yeah, so I think I'm going this one. And so while I would like to make money, I think just clarify for the audience, if I really, really need it, and I'm thankful that I don't really, really need an extra $600. If I really needed an extra $600, like if I was completely unemployed, my family needed money, and I needed to take that $600 and then do something with it to make more money, etc., I'd probably flip the Kobe. But being that I'm in the situation that I'm in and I can actually afford, luckily, to spend money on a card like this without getting money profit guaranteed, I think I'm probably keeping this card, keeping it as one of the only cards that I'm actually going to hold long term and give it to my kids, or sell it later if the market explodes again and it 5 or 6x's or something like that. But yeah, great. Are there any more? This is
no, that was my final one. That was the 5th one. So
all right, this one's the winner.
This card's an icon. Icon. Like, when you think of like basketball cards, especially vintage, my brain always goes to the 70 or the 86 Fleer set, and then this 1980s top set where it has the triple rip outs for the minis. Not only, I mean, I've never actually even seen just the Magic Johnson one, so I think that's kind of weird. Also, that I've actually never seen just the ripped out version of Magic, which I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Somebody had to rip these. I've seen
a Beckett authenticated Magic auto of just the ripped out Magic, and I almost bought that, but I didn't. I think it was like maybe half the price of this card.
Yeah.
So,
but I love this card. I think that's so cool, dude. There is very few opportunities where you have a triple player card and all 3 players are greats. Like, I mean, for instance, I'm thinking about the Josh Hamilton Bowman rookie card I have. He's in a Rays uniform. Of course, Josh Hamilton had a lot of media speculation, but he was an MVP at one point. You also have Adrian Gonzalez on that card, and then you have somebody I've never freaking heard of on there as well. I mean, this could very easily be Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and
there are in this set, there are variations of this card with other player where it's like
Maurice Cheeks has one of these.
Yeah, there's one like Jan de Velde or somebody named close to the name Jan de Velde, because I've researched this card a lot. Correct me in the comments, but anyway, like it's Magic Bird and like Jan de Velde, and then there's one with like John Long in it, who for the Pistons, who I love, and he's a great guy and whatever, but like he's not Dr. J, he's not Larry Bird. So
it's just sick that all 3 guys are on this card.
Yeah, great Gauntlet, man. I love it. This is the winner. Yeah, looks
there like you go, big dog.
Steve Cummings said he would have taken Gretzky, SP123, Pro Goat rookie over college prospect card, easy choice.
That's why it's the first round.
Greeny Green said Wayne Gretzky. So yeah, that was back to the first round. But yeah, that card would have beat any other card in that Gauntlet. So definitely a good stuff.
Yeah, I had to put your Magic card last because I was like, that's an icon. That's also why I was like, it's got to be around $800 because I started with that card. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start with the end of the Gauntlet and run it down.
Freaking sweet. Love it. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the moves. Who is up and who is down at nooffseason.com sports card investment report. So because we have our baseball expert, who is the co-host of the Flagship Show with me, let's talk about the baseball rankings. Yeah. So here we go. I'm gonna add the baseball card rankings to the stream. There were some guys that we added for a couple of different reasons to the report the last couple weeks, mainly due to your last couple episodes of the Baseball Card Strategy Show. We listened to what you were saying, and then we added them to the back end of the rankings. So I want you to talk to us about some of these guys: Gunnar Henderson, Khalil Watson. We talked about Max Muncy. You mentioned Yohendrick Panango, which is just a fun name to say. Zach Bean, Blaze Jordan, and Robert Hassel, who's actually from Thompson Station, Tennessee, which is where I lived basically, and still have my U.S. mailing address. That's where my in-laws live.
That's cool.
So Robert Hassel from Independence High School, which is right down the street from us in Tennessee. Talk to me about these guys first, and then I want to ask you a little bit more specifically to help sort of re-rank the baseball card rankings just quickly, because it's very veteran heavy, and what I want to try to do with it, and you and I can work on this offline, obviously, and then get back to everybody, is I want to make this a little bit more prospect focused moving forward. So it's very It's very veteran heavy because that's kind of the theme of the investment report. But I do want to kind of weigh in the prospect.
Dude, there are some dogs on this list. Let's go.
Yeah. So anyway, what are you what are your thoughts related to kind of some of the new guys that we've added to the report and why they're important to for investors to consider?
Well, first off, I'm going to start with Khalil Watson. I think anyone investing in Khalil Watson needs to have an asterisk next to their investment. It is a scary investment at this point. There is a high element of risk in this guy. And I think because, he's deep in the farm system. He's in the Marlins farm system, which has a history of not developing players super well. He is an astronomically high market right now because he was the guy out of the Bowman 22, the flagship product. But if you've followed Khalil Watson's story at all, he has really struggled with discipline and with the team. He's twice now been non-rostered in his minor league system because of his actions on and off the field. He is a guy who's not matured. Let's just put it that way. For instance, he checked swing the other day, and this is a super baseball-y thing that a lot of people probably want to understand. He checked his swing, and the umpire called the check swing, or actually so he's left-handed. You can see in this picture here. He checks swings. The umpire points to the first base side. I don't know if that's because in this particular minor league game, they didn't have 4 umpires. I don't know exactly how all that works. Although I'm a baseball expert, I'm not at the single A fields all the time. So he points over to the first base line, which is weird, first off, because, in a check swing, you would point to third base because the third baseman would have the best angle on it. First baseman calls him a strike. Khalil gets really upset about that. You can see him wave at the umpire, make some sort of motion. You can see he's not happy about it, which fair enough. I'll give him that. But also you're in single A. You have a reputation already. You probably should just buckle down here. Next pitch, he swings out of his shoes on a buckling. I'm pretty sure it's a buckling curveball. Swings out of his shoes, strikes out. As he's walking back to as he's walking back to his dugout, he picks his bat up and acts like he's shooting the umpire.
Ouch.
Marlins did not take kindly to that, and I believe he hasn't played since. So all I'm saying is Khalil Watson is a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of discipline and has been in a farm system and already been in trouble several times. Is he talented? Absolutely. He's insanely talented. I'm just not sure. I'm not willing to put my dollars on Khalil Watson right now because of his off-the-field antics. I feel like he has the ability to actually not even make it to the major leagues. And that's a shame because of how good he is at the plate. And I feel like he also will probably get traded. I feel like the Marlins are going to use his high-profile prospect nature and just ship him off to somebody else and get a different. I think right now, if Brian Reynolds from the Pirates was available for straight up for Khalil Watson, I feel like Miami would do it in a heartbeat. 1, they're struggling with the outfield, and 2, I think they want to get out from underneath this guy already.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to start with this. Yohandrick Pinongo, really high on him. I think he's a unique case. He's in a Cubs system that has a lot of guys that are around the same helium level as him. He's playing super good. I would still put him in a flyer situation, but he is a good prospect to have. He's a cheap prospect to have right now. You can get him for a lot cheaper than Khalil Watson, and I think he's worth more. I think he's a more suitable investment right now, especially if you're looking at risk versus reward. I think Pinongo is going to be in the major leagues fairly quickly, especially Khalil has definitely a longer way to go. I don't want to compare the two anymore. Actually, I've already compared them twice, but I do like Pinongo. If you'll go back to the rankings real quick. Max Muncy, we talked about him. Zach Veen, I like his bat. Robert Hassel, we'll go ahead and talk to him. Love Robert Hassel. Big fan. Definitely a big fan of Robert Hassel. He's a guy that is super unique. The fact that he's from a small town in Tennessee makes it even funnier because this dude is so unique. He's a guy that's going to be brandable. And I feel he's probably another guy that's probably going to get traded at some point. But this is a guy that's so fun to watch. He's going to be a guy that people love because he's got that. I think I said this a while ago, but you know that Joe Burrow swagger, that Joe Burr swag that he just like runs around with. Robert Hassel has that same sort of vibe. He's a guy that's like, he's always like flashy like he loves taking pictures on Instagram. Like he's a guy that's going to be able to be marketed well. And he's a guy that's worth marketing. I think he's a guy that people are going to love in the major leagues. Initially, I wasn't high on him, but over the past 6 months, I've been impressed. And my friend Aram, who God knows everything about prospects, is super, super, super high on Robert Hassel. I think this guy is going to be a bona fide major leaguer and definitely a guy that is going to be higher on our rebrand of this list than he is right now.
Sweet. Yeah, he definitely stuck out to me when I was putting this together based on your baseball card strategy show. All right, good stuff. Well, let's talk a little bit later, you and I, about kind of re-ranking some of these baseball card rankings so that you and the audience can come back to nooffseason.com. Everything's up to date right now, but with the new, I think MLB Pipeline 100 just coming out, it kind of started me thinking, all right, we're at a point in baseball season right now, the midway point, where some plays are being made and some things are going to be a little bit outdated sooner than later. So we're going to very quickly get into the part of the baseball season where I think deep diving on prospecting is going to make a lot more sense and be more relevant for the next 6 to 12 months as we sort of anticipate. I want to start anticipating who are the next guys, who are the next O'Neal Cruzes of the world to pay attention to that are at a lower price point, not necessarily of his physical stature and stuff, but just guys that are at a lower price point that should come up over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. So I think when we talk about the top end of these lists, I always am thinking, okay, what is the actual, like, what is our meta that we're going with? What is our ethics that we're going with in terms of the top end of this list? Is it the guy that's probably going to have the most plus money in the next 6 months? Is it the guy that's the safest investment? Is it the guy that is worth the most money right now? Like there's a bunch of ways you can be like, this guy's number one. Like for instance, with the MLB's top prospect list, they're going to put the guy number one that has the ability to be the most marketed player, I think. Maybe not always the most impactful to his team. Now there's other sites that rank their prospects differently. And I think when you look at a ranking system, you got to know, okay, what is the criteria? You've got to get so granular with the criteria because it is splitting hairs at the top end of this list. So for instance, if you're looking at the absolute safety of an investment, I think personally right now, Vladdy is way more safer of an investment than Mike Trout. I'm seeing some things in Mike Trout that I'm actually kind of a little bit worried about. His contact inside the zone has never been lower than it is right now. Interestingly enough, though, he's still second in WAR in all of outfielders behind Aaron Judge. So is he still fantastic at baseball? Absolutely. But as your dollar cost average and whatever you want to do, that we've got to get so granular with that at the top end because you're comparing Vladimir Guerrero Jr., absolute great, versus Mike Trout, maybe the best of all time. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good example. And I think like wanting to stay, if we're going with, because other sports are easier for me to rank because like I'll give an example in a second, but with baseball, if we're going with the veteran market over the prospect market, then the rankings would reflect, in theory, a bunch of veterans when in reality, the way to potentially make more money would be to prospect. And with our baseball rankings, like I feel good about them right now, but I just want to make them better in the regard that I want them to accurately reflect, like if we're going to, I don't just want to sprinkle prospects in. I want to rank them based on who over the next 6 to 12 months gives the highest upside for profit margin, regardless of whether they're a prospect or a veteran. And I feel like right now it's sort of like veteran heavy with prospects sprinkled in because we have to talk about prospects. Now, if you're someone who doesn't really care about where they're ranked and you're more into the profile, I don't think it really matters, because if you upgrade to the Sports Card Investment Report premium version and you just want to read about a player and your value is like, let me see what they're talking about with this entire player, I'm going to upgrade, then you get the value regardless, because we're adding the profiles of the prospects in there. But if you're someone who's coming to the site for the first time and you're like, well, I want to understand like why they have these guys ranked a certain way, I think that that's an area of improvement. So just wanted to talk about that quickly on the show. And then like from a basketball perspective, just give a quick update. The premium subscribers will get more of an in-depth report monthly on this, which is coming soon. But on the basketball card rankings, I did move Anthony Edwards up to number 1. Why did I do that? Well, again,
his team's going to be wildly media heavy.
Dude, you got Rudy Gobert basically for draft picks and a bag of chips. You locked in
trade.
Yeah, you locked in Cat for the super max, which I think does a lot for a guy like that's confidence. I think in this day and age, if you follow the NBA, you hear the trend is kind of like in these younger superstars, they want to be locked in. They want to be shown this respect from their team. And then when that happens, I think you get potentially a better version of that player is what I'm hearing from league circles. So I think that they made that move with Cat, and that's why that makes sense to me. So now you've got Ant-Man in the center of these other two guys in a position to potentially be next year's Memphis Grizzlies. I see Anthony Edwards far outperforming a guy like Ja Morant. I see as a result of that, him being the number 1 basketball card to invest in. And if you want to know more, you got to upgrade to no offseason. We will talk about it on the show, which cards to buy. But I just think in general, Anthony Edwards is the number 1 basketball player now, more than anybody else. Trae Young moved up. Devin Booker moved up. Zion Williamson moved up. Cade Cunningham moved up. As a result of that, some guys had to move down. Tyrese Maxey moved down a little bit. Kawhi Leonard moved up. This is another one I want to talk about. I think it's Kawhi's time in the hobby. This next year could be Kawhi's year, where based on on-court performance and Clippers making a run in the Western Conference, Kawhi, Paul George, and now John Wall, believe it or not, is relevant again. I'm not going so far as to say he's relevant in the sports card market, but his acquisition by the Clippers does help Kawhi, I believe. Kawhi coming back from that injury. Tyronn Lue is one of the most underrated coaches in all of professional sports, and I think you could see the Clippers really, really make a run. I think you could see sort of a quick changing of the guard in 2022-23 in the Western Conference. I think you could all of a sudden see Minnesota, LA Clippers, and the New Orleans Pelicans be potentially towards the top of that conference. And so as a result, I think Kawhi Leonard's cards would...
You think Phoenix is toast?
I don't know that Phoenix is toast. I think they're competitive, and I like Devin Booker, but I do think that it's going to be harder and harder for them to continue to really be the team out there. I don't know. I've been checked out the last couple of days, so I don't really know exactly what's happening with the DeAndre Ayton situation. I don't really know exactly what's happening with the Kevin Durant situation. I do know if they try to get Kevin Durant, I think that could be detrimental to their actual ability to win games.
Yeah.
So I really
horrible.
A little concerned. I'm not concerned about Phoenix, but I just don't see them as kind of the runaway favorite anymore. Yeah, we talked about Giddey. Giddey moved up quite a bit. I did move Damian Lillard up. I think that makes sense. Cat moved up a little bit. Those are the big ones. Miles Bridges moved down. He had a bad felony arrest for domestic violence, which just breaks my heart for a lot of reasons. So Miles Bridges unfortunately moved down, kind of really gave away an opportunity there with some off the court bad decisions, bad situation. And then my other Sparty, Jaren Jackson Jr., has a foot injury, so he's a little bit less relevant now, and I think that hurts the Grizzlies more than it actually hurts Jaren Jackson's card value. I guess the last guy I want to talk about is Jalen Brunson. I didn't even move him, and I didn't really move Luka either. I don't know. See, I think Jalen Brunson is pretty replaceable. Paul Fisher made a comment a couple weeks ago about Jalen Brunson going to the Knicks and that hurting Luka. I don't think it does. I really don't. I think it. The only thing it hurts, I think he's replaceable by Spencer Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway Jr., first of all.
Yeah, the fact that they're getting Tim Hardaway back is better than Jalen Brunson coming back.
I think for winning now and for what they're trying to do with Luka's card value, I just don't think Jalen Brunson going to the Knicks really does anything. And I don't think Jalen Brunson going to the Knicks should really help Jalen Brunson's card value either. So I just kind of kept him where he was.
I don't understand why the Knicks made that. I mean, like, it does not move the Knicks needle to bring in it was no secret that they were bringing him in.
Yeah.
And they were like so jazzed about it. And I'm like, you guys are bringing in a B+ celebrity, or I mean, a B+, not B+ celebrity, a B+ star to carry your team. I mean, maybe
I think they got to make more moves. I agree. I think it was a good basketball move, but I think in order to compete, they got to make more moves than just acquiring Jalen Brunson. Yeah. So I agree with you. Now on the football side, I did make some moves in the investment report, mainly because I think it's football card buying season right now. And Andy Kaysen's been doing such a good job getting me pumped about football cards right now.
Paul, just entertain me for a second. Where is the first non-quarterback in the list?
I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson as I scroll down here. Yeah, he's number 16. I moved him up above Aaron Rodgers. I think there's a lot of value in Justin Jefferson. I think
Zach Wilson's value is skyrocketing right now, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read about that today.
I have not read about that today. What's up with Zach?
It's weird. All right. It's weird. But Jets fans are all about him right now because they found out that he was having relations with his mother's best friend. And he has been going cougar hunting this offseason. And the Jets fan base went insane with it today. He is a national hero right now, apparently, on Twitter. Like, people are going insane with it. And they're comparing him to the way that I wasn't around for this. But apparently today they are comparing him to oh God, he just left my head. Naismith or Namath. They're comparing him to Namath because Namath was a big womanizer apparently, and that's what made him like such a good Jets quarterback or something. Like it made him Mr. Jets or something, like because everybody wanted to, like all the guys wanted to be him and the girls wanted to smash him, so but Zach Wilson is now getting compared to Naismith in Jets land, and his media presence is going through the roof right now, which I already thought he was a good buy this offseason because he was so bad and he doesn't really have any room to go down. I mean, I guess he does have room to go down. Look at AKA Baker Mayfield / Sam Darnold. But I don't know. I'm kind of in on the Zach Wilson story right now. So not because of the cougar hunting thing. I don't care about that. But I think he has a decent chance to be a good quarterback.
That's hilarious. I don't know about.
God, I wish Andy was on the show right now. I want his take on that.
Yeah, that'd be funny to get Andy's take on that. RPO chimed in and said it's a wild story. I agree. I mean, it's funny, I guess, what can move the needle from time to time. But I do.
It's funny how different franchises move the needle for different things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, another guy that Andy really likes that I really like is Travis Etienne. He's another position player. We both think he could break out in Jacksonville, and he's super low right now. So check out the football card rankings at nooffseason.com. Let me know what you think in the comments on the show. I think Jacoby Brissett moved into the top 45 because I see him as he could potentially be a quick flippable guy. And his card, like
wild card Jacoby. That's what I'm gonna call him, dude.
His big cards are super cheap, and you don't see that very often. Quarterback.
And he has the position to be a playoff position quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's the knock against him is like he's had these opportunities before, and he's always been pretty underwhelming. So it's not like
has he though?
I think he
was pretty underwhelming in Miami. I'll give you that.
I mean, he's been in New England. He was okay, right? I mean, maybe better than expected.
I think he was better than okay in Indy.
You think he was? I mean, maybe. I don't know.
That team was winning some games, dude.
But okay, so what you're saying is playing into actually my overall point on Jacoby, which is like he should actually be Cleveland's starter this year.
Yeah.
And so if you want to like go, like now would be the time to buy Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. Don't wait until he's like named the starter, because then like that's going to be like the 50% spike in value. Like I think there could easily be like buy him now, and then I think that there should be like a 50% spike in value like when it's official that Deshaun Watson is like suspended for the year, and then Brissett is named the starter and Baker Mayfield's gone, and so it's like clear path to Jacoby Brissett being the starter. I don't know that I would necessarily then wait to see if the Browns make the playoffs. What I would probably do is like as soon as he's named the starter, I would sell his cards and see what he can for him. But I think that's the play.
What about the weird scenario? There's some media attention coming out this week that Deshaun Watson actually might not get suspended at all because there is no criminal charges that can be proved. And so there's some things of saying like, I forget who it actually rests on, but there's a lady and that it like pretty much is the determiner. I don't know this much about the situation, but this article I was reading was saying that she said that why would we punish somebody that hasn't been criminally charged?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the precedent in the NFL. Following fantasy football for a long time, I remember several cases where they didn't, Goodell didn't suspend a guy because of that reason. So I think that that's a possibility, and it could be why this has dragged out so long and there hasn't been an official word yet. I think it's more likely than not that he will get suspended or disciplined in some way. I think that Deshaun's in our top 40 football card rankings because I think he has to be. The reason why he's there is because his upside is ridiculous. Like when he does get back on the field, he should be a stud. I don't know that I would invest in Deshaun heavily just because these track records tend to actually play out in the long term when there's these types of things like the Khalil Watson example, right? Like these types of character issues tend to continue to play themselves out. So if I had to guess, this won't necessarily be the last we hear of Deshaun Watson having incidents. I mean, I hope that it is for everyone's sake, but Jacoby Brissett is an interesting, like super, super cheap flyer play that I wanted to throw out there on the show. Even if Deshaun Watson does start the season, you could see Jacoby Brissett's cards go down even more potentially. And then I just don't know that Deshaun Watson finishes the season. So if you still want to hang in there with
there's so much variety that could happen. He could literally be suspended for a year, or he could not be suspended at all. You're just like, what is going on?
And you probably remembered everybody in fantasy holding on to Josh Gordon and continuing to draft Josh Gordon in the late rounds and picking up Josh Gordon on waivers in week 10 and blah, blah, blah. And Josh Gordon never made it back to where Josh Gordon and Martavis Bryant in Pittsburgh. Yep. So, these
Antonio Brown too.
Antonio Brown, these things have a way of kind of working themselves out one way or another. And I hope for everyone's sake that Deshaun doesn't do anything offensive or stupid again, but related to cards, I think Brissett right now is a good buy.
Yeah, I like it. I might go buy one of these national treasures, especially if it is $250. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like
this
when
was $250 out of 4. Come on.
You know what that is? That's like a bet. That's a bet on the odds on the Detroit Pistons winning the championship. Like it's not going to happen, but if it does, you could turn $100 into 50,000.
Dude, imagine if you imagine the scenario: you buy this out of 4 RPA for $215, and they make the playoffs, and Jacoby Brissett's been the quarterback all year long.
Weirder things happened.
The weirder, definitely things we didn't think. Where did we think Joe Burrow was going to be last offseason? We did not think he was going to be a Super Bowl quarterback. That's who we thought that's definitely not who we thought he was.
Yeah, for sure.
We thought he was good. We didn't think he was going to be in the Super Bowl.
100%. 100%. All right, so let's do some live chat Q&A. I'm going to lead things off. And actually, before I do, Adrian McElderly, welcome to the show. 0 game suspension for Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. That's cool. So, wondering if anyone wants to throw into the live chat now. It is Q&A time, and if you want to ask any questions at all, Kendall and I will answer them on the fly. But I'm going to lead off. I've got 2 questions just to get things going here. One actually just happened. So I made a card sale. I pulled a Mac Jones out of 7 Leaf unlicensed auto from Leaf Metal Draft from last year's Leaf Metal Draft. So it's his rookie. His XRC Leaf calls it. Nice card. Pulled it out of Leaf Metal Draft like literally last week. Listed it on eBay. Sold it. Sold it best offer for $100. The guy just got it, Kendall, and here's what he says to me. I'm not going to call him out who he is. Hey, received the card today, and it's not really as expected. There are multiple blemishes and marks that weren't pictured or mentioned. Surface marks, corners, and edges. Please let me know what can be done. And I just have to call complete and utter bullshit on this because I literally ripped it out of a box, immediately sleeved it, and put it in a not a top loader, but the other one. And
card saver.
Yeah, card saver. Packaged it in between, like gave the guy a bunch of free cards, including sealed packs of 1990 Score football to secure it, put it in cardboard, rubber banded it, put it in bubble wrap, put it in another envelope. I mean, nothing happened to this card, and they were the exact pictures I took right after I ripped it out of the pack. So I'm a little bit pissed off because I think this guy's just being a dick. I know that this stuff happens on eBay all the time, but this is the first time it's happened to me. I want to reply very nicely and sort of ask him, like, I want to say, like, I'm sorry that you're disappointed. You appeared to be disappointed in the result. However, here's my situation. When you say what can be done, like, what are you expecting? Like, what are you asking for? You know, what would you do in this scenario?
Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say, hey, man, that is the exact quality that I pulled it out of the pack with. I took fair enough pictures. I'm sorry that you didn't do your exam. I mean, there's only so much examining you can do over a face or a eBay picture, you know? I mean, as a buyer, that's the risk you're taking. I don't know. Like, I hate this stuff, you know, like it's $100. Just eat it, man. Just go sell it to somebody else. Put it back up on eBay. You could probably get $100 from somebody else. You know, that's from his perspective. Now, from your perspective, I would say, hey, man, like I would say, pull this straight, fresh out of a pack. You know, if there's any sort of blemishes, I packed it very securely. It's on the manufacturer at that point, or you, or I mean, like, or that guy. What I would say is, what would you recommend us do? And I mean, I would just say, I'll give you a full refund, but you've got to send it back, and I have to know that it's in the same condition that I sent it in.
Yeah. What is that the worst case scenario for me? Is the worst case, because I've never had this happen before, is the worst case scenario that there is a refund and that I do get the card back?
I don't think that's worst case scenario because, dude, there's so many buyers on eBay, man. Like, if you got it back, just put it back up there for $100. There's another person that would buy it. You know, like, yeah. I don't know if you saw your statistics before.
Like, is there a scenario where, like, I have to give him his money back and then I don't get the card back? Like, is that possible?
I would never do that if I were you. Like, I would say
Well,
you can have your money back, but I need the card back. Like, I'm not gonna let you keep the card and the money.
of course, but like, is there a scenario where
Like, is there a scenario where eBay makes you?
Is there a scenario where like I have to, as the seller, have to refund the money first, and that eBay says he has to return the card, but then he doesn't return the card, and then eBay doesn't do it? Do you see what I'm trying to ask? Like, I'm not saying like I would want that, but is there a scenario where
I think there probably is that scenario, unfortunately.
Yeah.
eBay seems to protect buyers a lot more than it protects sellers. Because I think it's more common that people receive something that is sold fraudulently rather than somebody being a shitty buyer, which is what you're experiencing. I would just say, hey man, I'm more than willing to send you a return label out of my own pocket. Like if I was you, I would say I would more than welcome to send you a return label, and once I verify that quality is assured and back in my hands, I will refund you fully. But that's again going to need to have a lot of trust on his part, and just say, like, I mean, I don't want to say tough luck, but unfortunately, you might just get a negative review out of this either way, and you're just gonna. I mean, this is just the game, you know.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I wanted to ask. So, like, is it acceptable in the community's eyes, or is it? I guess that's, I don't know, whatever. That's one side of it, but is it feasible in eBay's rules that I can like he could request a refund, I could deny it, and then get a negative review but keep my money? Is that possible?
I would think so, but then if I'm on his side of things too, I'm like, dude, like if I didn't know you,
yeah,
you know, and I was sitting there on his side of things, and you were him, and he was saying, dude, this card just beat up. What do I do? You know, I'd be like, ask for a refund.
Yeah,
and if they don't get it, file a complaint. You know, so I think, unfortunately, I think there's just more that he's going to be able to do than you can do, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks for that. All right, let's move along to RPO Sports Cards. He says, I'm sitting on a couple paper Patrick Mahomes rated rookies that I pulled myself. Would you look to sell in the lead up to the season or hold for playoff hype? I have no problem holding forever, LOL. Good question. What do you think, Kendall?
RPO, I know you're a Texas guy for some reason. I mean, obviously, I know the reason, but people in Texas are wildly high on Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to struggle this year. I think not having Tyreek Hill is going to be really hard on him. You can't just throw it out there and he'll just take the top off. But additionally, his yards per catch, I think, or his yards per game, I think will go down, because so many times, how many times did we see Tyreek Hill go on a slant, break one tackle, and run for 80 yards? You know, we saw that a lot. And so I think his numbers overall will be down this year. Therefore, I think that Kansas City will just not be as good this year. I don't think Kelsey can carry that offense like he, in the same way. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I would sell Patrick Mahomes. If you're wanting to get out of him, I would sell the cards at the beginning of the season. Maybe before the first game, honestly. But that's because I'm not super high on Mahomes, so I don't know.
I'm going to take a different answer to this. I am super high on Mahomes, and I think people are nitpicking the crap out of him right now. And I would say what I would do if I were you is get these graded, because I think he is a long-term hold. So if these are paper cards that you pulled yourself and you've got them raw still, which is how I'm interpreting your question, I would get these graded at PSA, and I would hold them. And I would sell at a point where, I just don't think there's any way that Mahomes doesn't come back at some point in his career and have another huge season for the ages. Does he win another Super Bowl? That's the hardest thing to predict. That's going to be I don't know.
The Aaron Rodgers argument right there.
I just don't think he needs to in order to have another massive jump in card value. I think that the market's going to come back around again. Mahomes is going to be around for a long time. He's a future Hall of Famer.
The fact you pulled these versus buying them is probably another factor into this too, because if you bought them, a year or two ago, then people thought he was Brady, and there was all these people like Brady, and they were comparing him. And now it's like, okay, well, maybe he's not going to win 6 championships. But pulling them, I would say, yeah, you have a great opportunity to make a lot of coin on it.
Yeah, and the fact that he says I have no problem holding him forever, like that's another factor in don't sell in the hype, because you're not hedging, but you are like, because you like him and you would hold him forever, then definitely don't sell in the hype leading up to the season, because I think there are going to be more moments for him. Sure. Facebook group user, this is a good one for you, Kendall. Facebook group user, sorry, we don't know who you are because Facebook doesn't let us know who you are on the live stream. But anyway, thanks for the question. Is Yordan Alvarez a good buy now?
Yordan Alvarez is an extremely extremely unique scenario for me. Is he one of the best hitters in baseball? Yes, sir. Is he going to be great for a long time? Absolutely. I would think this dude is better than I'm not going to be clickbaity and say he's better than this guy, but I think he's better than a whole lot of dudes that are already greats. And he's in Houston, and he's going to keep getting better. He's a DH. He'll never have to potentially play the field ever. So he'll be able to hit forever and ever. Look at Nelson Cruz, still just killing balls. Albert Pujols is still killing balls. Albert Pujols hit a home run yesterday. That dude's probably 75 years old if he had a real birth certificate. And so Yordan is going to be like that. He's going to crush balls forever. The weird thing, though, is his market has never been high, ever. And there's some hitters that just no one buys. They're great. They're always been great. And still their market is really low. And Yordan is one of those kinds of players in the hobby. Weirdly enough, I would actually buy a lot of other different players right now, because Yordan Alvarez never has had the same kind of market that other players have. Now, if you are flipping one guy into another, if you're able to flip Judge into Yordan, I think that could be a cool opportunity, because the Houston Astros are probably going to go far. But Yordan is never going to be marketed. He's never going to be on commercials. He's never going to be on a big sponsorship. He's never going he's just not that kind of player. And I think that hurts him. I think that hurts his value.
All right. Thanks for the question. Adrian McElderly, we might end the show with this one. Appreciate you watching and chiming in with a comment. He says, how can consumers trust the card manufacturing and autographed card authentication? This is a scandalous situation surrounding the most expensive Topps product. Mm-hmm. I think, is he referring to a recent
the fake autographs?
Yeah, the fake autographs.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about this situation. I saw a YouTube video about it yesterday and actually didn't even have time to go look at it. But I do know that there's been some reports that have come out around. I want to say it was National Treasures being fraudulent autographs, and it been proven that was in fact the same case. And I would say Topps does probably not have the kind of security that other people are expecting in terms of verifying those autographs, especially in sports where the players are overseas, i.e. soccer. When those cards are going to those people's product, and I know for a fact that sometimes there are so many autographs that people are signing, they're having their mom, their dad, their girlfriend, all those sign them as well.
Yeah.
I know that happens 100%. Now, am I still going to buy autographed cards? Yes, because that's what the hobby's looking for. And to be honest, if I have a Mike Trout autograph, I'm not when I'm buying it, I'm not looking at it being like, I wonder if Mike Trout wrote that. I'm just saying no, that's Mike Trout's autograph. And I'm going to sell it to somebody else thinking that it's still Mike Trout's autograph. So at some level, this is kind of what I was talking about with the Deborah question a couple of weeks ago. At some point, you're just going to have to trust the system. You're just going to have to trust Topps or PSA or Beckett or whoever. Like, I know these companies aren't always truthful, but you could either not participate in the hobby or you can trust them.
Yeah, I agree. I think like that's what it comes down to for me as well. I mean, it's a good question, and it
is a good question. I'll give you that.
And it's a concern. I agree, but I always kind of come back to, oh, that's kind of like to me, it's kind of like a blip on the radar. It's not like these aren't like big stories to me. Like, to me, it's like Topps didn't mean to have like a fake Randy or Rosa Reyna signature on a card. They made a manufacturing error, somebody messed up. And
it's so easy to have when you produce so much product.
Exactly. And if Lionel Messi's brother signs his autograph, but I get a Lionel Messi authenticated autograph from a company, and that reputable company says that Lionel Messi autographed it, then, I mean, the fact of the matter is that like most people that are in the market to buy that card from me or interested in that card are going to value that card whether or not Messi actually signed it for whatever reason that they value that they wanted to buy that card in the first place. And so I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that I like actually, don't care about this thing, but I do think that it's kind of like a blip on the radar. Like,
yeah, agreed.
And I'm not saying like everybody get over it either, but I'm saying like it is just part of it. And we kind of have to, if you don't trust it, you don't trust it. If you do, you do. But like it is just kind of part of the deal.
Don't sell to conspiracy theorists. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just find somebody that's just going to say like, yeah, I just want that because it's it.
Yeah. So Card Guy 20, thanks for chiming in. Like, because this is on the same topic, he says, does this make on-card autos safer or on-card autos witnessed by the manufacturer?
I think it's the other way. I think on-card autos are not, I think they're not as safe. If I'm thinking about it right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on card auto, I actually don't know the answer to this question. I would think so. My guess would be that sticker autos are less likely to be witnessed by a manufacturer because a manufacturer can pitch to a player's representative or the players association. We are going to send you X amount of sheets of stickers, and we need this player to sign them and return them by this time. And that gives a higher likelihood that the player is actually going to sign it, but it also increases the risk that somebody else could sign it on behalf of the player because there's nobody there to witness it because it's being sheets of stickers being shipped. I do not know if on-card, high-end on-card autos, if a manufacturer's representative actually goes and sits with the player. But my feeling on that is
I would hope so.
If it should be happening, I would expect that it would be happening because if it's coming out of a box of Flawless or National Treasures or Topps Dynasty or something expensive like that, and the consumer is paying $5,000 to $40,000 for access to these cards, I would hope that that it would make on-card autos safer. So that's my sort of guess on it.
I think that'd be a really interesting question to ask Krim since his brother has had experience working for Beckett and Panini.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that'll happen on, hopefully on another show or a discussion board topic. Everybody, thanks so much for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 39. I'm Paul Hickey. He's Kendall McKee. We're with nooffseason.com, home of the Sports Card Investment Report. You can save 20% by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON at checkout. We want you to do that. And we want you to subscribe to the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. Go to sportscardstrategy.com, click the quick link to subscribe to the YouTube channel, join the Facebook group, listen on Apple and Spotify. And also check out marketmoversapp.com. You can get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. Kendall, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate all that you do. It's super fun doing this show with you. And I want you to have a great day and stay healthy. and everybody you do as well.
Thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, brother.